placard thing. Put your name with the Sharpie, not with a pen, with the Sharpie. First name only, very large print. First name only, very large print. Like so. With the Sharpie. Todd, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, man.
Okay, all right, good. I was like, he explained.
I chastised them already. Don't worry.
Marcus, Bo Brown, nice to meet
What's
you.
up, my man?
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
Finally made it in, huh?
Yeah, man.
We'll be starting in 2 minutes. If you know somebody that's not here, get on your phone and get them here.
I like that sweatshirt, man.
Thank you.
Pretty fly for a white guy.
The wife dresses me nice. Good, you've got that microphone. Cool. Okay, cool. All our people that couldn't make it, we're trying to stream it just for them.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, we got about 20 that didn't make it. Because cold out there. You have to keep it. Well. Everybody get in here. Thank you, I appreciate it. Few seats. All right.
All right, everyone. We're going to get this started so that we have as much time as we can. Thank you very much for helping me adjust the schedule. We're going to take right before Marcus comes on. We got to pay the bills, and so because of this wonderful person here, Bo, also Ricky Lopez in the back there with Crux, C-R-U-X. I've known Bo for a long time. I'm going to give him his time, and then we're going to get right on with Marcus. Here we go, Bo Brown.
All right, he told me Marcus is coming up. I have 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and he's going to pull me off this mic. So Ricky Lopez, Bo Brown, we're the co-founders of Crux. We have over 5 decades of insurance technology experience. 7 years at Vertafore. We went and ran technology at an agency in New York. And then we went to Tech Canary. I was here with you giving a speech when we were at Tech Canary 6 years ago, I think it was. And then obviously Applied bought us. I heard the stories about being acquired and how it makes you feel, mixed emotions in order to purchase. We wanted to do the right thing for the independent agents, but money talks sometimes, and we got purchased. And what we found out real fast was, hey, we can't say yes to you guys a lot of times. When you're at a large shop like Applied or Vertafore, you guys might say, hey, it takes us 4 hours to a day to do a proposal. Can you write something for us? Well, if the management system does it, they're not going to want to allow you to write something custom, use the management system. So last year, having a beer, we decided we're going to leave Applied, build a platform where you can build quickly and not spend the money at a custom shop. And that's what we do. We solve what matters. We've talked to a couple of people. Adam and Leah we were talking to last night. They had a problem last night where they have a Word document and they want data off that document because it's someone they acquired. They put it all. We built that last night and we're going to show that. What Jason was talking about yesterday, going from the quote to buying process, we built that last night. We're going to show that tomorrow as well. So when you get a chance, I'm still under my 4 minutes, come by our booth. We will do a POC for you for free. If there's something that you want to prove out, don't even have to pay us. Just come by, talk to us. We'll give you some minutes, some matches, and I'm under my 4 minutes. Man. Appreciate you guys.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. I appreciate it very much, bro. That was awesome. I was expecting more time. All right. Without further ado, just act like it's Tuesday morning, and we're right on time. Marcus Sheridan is an internationally recognized speaker, author, and entrepreneur, known for changing how organizations think about trust, transparency, and growth. He is the author of They Ask, You Answer, and his newest book, Endless Customers, which have influenced leaders and companies around the world. Please welcome Marcus Sheridan.
Good morning. We are married for 3 hours. Let's make it a great marriage, shall we? In order to make this a great marriage, I'm going to ask that you lean in, that you're willing to engage with me. Any question you have is not going to throw me off. So there's not like a situation here where I have to get to the next slide. I will give anyone that wants a copy of the deck, I will give it to you at the end. So you'll have that copy, so you don't feel like you have to take screenshots or things like that. We're going to try to get our elbows a little bit dirty today, which is good. Make this a bit more workshoppy. Hopefully, you have your ChatGPT account ready to go because we're actually going to use that a little bit this morning as well. And if you don't have one, you can just use it with your neighbor. And I'm sure at least a few of you at the table have it. But I do want to do that this morning. I've never seen, I've been traveling for 15 years. I've never seen chaos in an airport as I saw this week. It's absolutely extraordinary what's going on. And so if you're planning on getting a home this week, I wish you luck. I only have myself 2 more stops, and we'll see if we make those. All right. With that being said, many of you don't know who I am, and so I'm just going to give you just a brief introduction. I used to be a pool guy. I started a swimming pool company in 2001. So I was right out of college, and we were fighting to grow the business. Things were going okay for us up until this particular date. Anybody know what this date represents? Yeah, that's the crash, Lehman Brothers. Good or bad day for pool guys? Very bad day for pool companies because how do most people get the money to buy a pool? Does anybody know? Yeah, they get a second mortgage or a home equity loan. Sometimes I'm with CEOs and I say, how do you think most people get the money to buy a pool? And they say, bonuses. And I'm like, no, that's not America. That's not America. No, that's not how it works. See, in America, we borrow stuff, right? So you get a second mortgage, a home equity loan. After this day, most people were upside down. And so quickly, there started to ensue this incredible panic. And within 48 hours, we had lost 5 deposits of people that said they were going to get a pool. They withdrew it, and they said, we just can't do it. So that was $250,000 in business for us the first 48 hours, which might not be a lot to some of you, but it's a lot for a swimming pool company, especially going into the off season. And then over the coming weeks, it got worse and worse. And by January 2009, we're going over that proverbial edge. There's something really wonderful about the edge. By the way, has anybody ever looked over the edge with your business? Anybody in this room? There's something about the edge. What's your name in the back? Dana, what did the edge teach you?
A better vision.
A better vision, right? And so there's something about you looking over the edge that said to you, you will not in the future allow yourself to not have a vision that is going to make this company more permanent. If hopefully I'm not putting words into your mouth there, right? So there's beauty in pain. And what I found, it's really, really interesting. Oftentimes as businesses, we don't innovate, especially the way we do sales, marketing, or just business in general, until the economy tanks. That's when you see innovation, which is unfortunate because the great ones don't have to be motivated by the marketplace to do extraordinary things that others in their space have never done before. So I'm asking you, as we go about our day to day, that you don't allow yourself to be the company that has to be influenced by market conditions to take the actions that are inevitably going to be needed to survive over the next 10 to 20 years. I have been in the game of business now, like many of you, in my case for 25 years, and I can tell you I've never seen change like I'm seeing right now. I can study it all day long and I'm still losing ground every day. It's absolutely fascinating. It's exciting. It's scary. It's all the above. But I think also that's why we signed up for this game. We signed up for this game because all of us in this room, to a degree, are control freaks. And we want to dictate our success in life. True or false? So with that being said, that's our mindset for today. And that's where I was. And that's when I started to study inbound and content and social and all this stuff. And what I heard in my simple pool guy mind was, Marcus, if you just really obsess over the customer, like really obsess over them, their questions, their worries, their fears, their issues, their concerns, and you're willing to address those things online, you just might save your business. So I said, well, if there's one thing I can do, I can listen well, I can obsess over what they think, what they ask, what they fear, and I can lean in. And so I said to my business partners, we're going to become the Wikipedia of pools. That's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to save the company. And to make a long story short, we became the most trafficked swimming pool website in the world. It completely revolutionized the business. We became a manufacturer of fiberglass pools, became a franchise with dealers all over the country. Utterly changed my life. And I wrote about this in They Ask You Answer. Has anybody in this room read They Ask You Answer by chance? Okay, so actually a few of you, that's super cool. So They Ask You Answer is an obsession with the way buyers think and the willingness to meet them where they are. Now, because of all the changes that have been happening in the world, this year I came out with what is essentially the third edition of the book, but we call that Endless Customers. Because we're trying to create a system that everyone could follow for their sales and marketing, similar to EOS and Traction. I know, who's on EOS here? Is anybody doing EOS? Yeah, okay. So that's a system that you can follow. So we wanted to create the same system, in this case, for sales and marketing. Now, a couple disclaimers. I always have a really big fear. My biggest fear, can I see your name tag?
Yes, sir.
My biggest fear is that I share with you my story today, and you say to yourself, well, Marcus, that's wonderful, that's great, but Adam hears it and he says, but our situation here at, is it Fleece Insurance Agency, our situation, our customer, our clients are what? Different. Yes, sir. Some of you in this room really love the idea that you're different. And I'm sure you are to a degree. It's fascinating. I have this great job today where I get to travel around the world and I talk to audiences, unique cultures, unique people every single day. You can divide almost every room in half. The first half hears a thing and they say, I think we could probably do that. Like, I know that ain't what we've been doing, but I think it's possible that we could apply that. And the second person is the opposite. They say, there's no way that would work in our industry, in our organization, with my buyer, etc. It's so fascinating to me. And it's about 50%. Today, I'm asking you to be on this side of the aisle. To don't allow yourself to come from that place of we're different. Because here's the thing. What I'm showing you today is a system whereby you can become the most known and trusted agency in your market. That's the payoff. The most known and trusted agency in your market. So Chris, if I said to you, is trust going to be fundamental to your agency in 10 years? What would you say?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's like no doubt, right? 20 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. No matter what happens with technology, is it safe to say that trust is going to be fundamental to your success?
Always.
Always. Now, if I said to you, is Google going to be fundamental to your success in 10 years? What would you say?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. 20 years. Starts to get less because Google is a platform. Platforms come and then they go. So we know Google at some point is going to die. There's just no question about it because we know when it was born. If we know when something was born, we know it's going to have an end date. Whereas trust, if I say, when did it start? We don't know because it's always been. Therefore, it always will be. So today, I'm showing you a model of how you can become more known and trusted. If that doesn't align with you, it's okay to leave. I'm serious because that's what we're going to obsess about. Now, what's interesting, though, is because of what's happened in the world, I'm going to show you how to become more known and trusted with two entities. Whereas for a long, long time, it's just been one. And so we're going to get into that. Point being is, do not put yourself in a corner. Do not say we're different. Have an open heart and an open mind. I think you probably had that yesterday. And I know Jason well, so I know this group well. That's the culture that he has attracted to the organization. And so continue to do that. If you're willing to stay open and if you're willing to come from that place of, but would this induce more trust for my business, for my agency? If you're willing to do that, everyone say yes.
Yes.
All right, we're all verbally committed now. Once you're verbally committed, we're halfway to a signed contract. Let's go. All right, good. Now, disclaimer number 2. I'm not quiet, and I'm unapologetic about it. If you have ever looked over the cliff and almost lost your home, and you come back from that, you're not the same. Sometimes people are like, why are you so just... Now, I can't yell as much today as I normally do because we got 3 hours together. I don't want to burn you out completely. I will not fatigue in these 3 hours. But my point is, I am unapologetically passionate about where we're headed and about changing your business and your mindset. I do not want you to be left behind. I do not want everything that's happening with AI to cause you to say, I don't get it. 5 years ago, we were the market leader, and now we're floundering. I don't want that for you. And so as I'm pushing, that's the reason why. My intent is helping you to become that most known and trusted agency in your space. That's what we're trying to achieve together today. And so if you feel like he's overzealous, good for me and good for you too, because that's the mindset we should all have in this room. Fair? You good with that, Ed? You give me a funky look. We good? All right. Oh, good. I'm playing with you, Ed. If I tease you, it means I like you. All right. So this date really changed the world. I don't know if many of us realized it at the time. This is the day ChatGPT came out. So why did it change the world so much? Because for 20 some years, for the most part, we had to make two entities happy in business. The first entity that we had to make happy, of course, was the customer. That's never going to change. That's always going to be the case. Second entity that we had to make happy was, we'll call it the search engine, aka Google, right? And the way we made them happy is we produced content. You might call that SEO. You might call that content marketing, or we gave them money. You might call that paid ads. And when we gave them money, they gave us visitors. And that has been basically 20-ish years of our lives. Then suddenly we have a new party enter the fray, and of course that's AI. And it is a different game. So here's what I want to ask you. And this is very, very important to me and should be to everyone in this room. I want you to think about someone searching online, your customers. And I want you to think, if somebody says, who are, the best, commercial insurance providers near me? All right, this is like a common classic search or whatever it is. Is the future one where they go online and when they do that search, they're shown dozens of blue links to choose from. Some of the links might be sponsored, some maybe not. They don't even really know at this point. Just lots of blue links on a page. That's choice one, which, by the way, That's a life you've been living for basically 20 years now. Choice number 2 is they receive an immediate answer to their question. Not only do they receive an immediate answer, but for the first time ever, they can get a justification of that answer. Whereas for the previous 20 years, they never got a justification as to why they were just shown what they were shown. But now they're told, here's why I'm telling you it's this company. And not only that, but then they can take action on the answer that they're given. In other words, that device, that platform wants to take them further to the end. Now you tell me, our future, the future of our customers, is it rooted in A or is it rooted in B? Is there any doubt? I can tell you for certainty, for absolute certainty, that legacy Google is going to die as we know it. Now, that doesn't mean Google is going to die anytime soon, and it doesn't mean that Google won't be a major platform in the future. What I am certain of, though, is the way people have been finding us and the way you've been searching for the last 20 years is absolutely, positively going to look nothing like it does today in 5 years. Nothing. And this is where it gets interesting. Because if there is no search engine, let's say, there's also no ads. Now, some of you are saying, but I've heard that ChatGPT is going to get ads. Yes, they are starting to roll out ads, but that is not even for the $20 a month subscriber. In other words, right now, they're going to start to roll out ads to whoever is getting a free account or an $8 account. And we don't know what they're going to do in the future, but those ads are going to be very different than what we've seen in the past. Point being is, you can't bank in the future on any Google ads whatsoever for your business to have success. Can't do it. Can't do it. So we have to build a system that does not rely on that. Do we agree on that? Is that fair for me to say that? Does anybody have a disagreement with that? I remember one time I was saying this from stage and I didn't know. Like one of the leaders from Google was the next person speaking after me. That was such a weird moment when she walked out and I was like, this is so odd. Hey, here's go ahead. Here's the clicker. Bye-bye, Google. Okay, so that was so weird. There's like 6,000 people in the room. I'm not kidding you. It's so weird. All right, so I think as a group, we have to say, okay, that's our future. Let's not, bemoan it. Let's just say this is where we're headed. It's actually a much better search experience in general. And oh, by the way, for also 20 years, you said, we rank for the phrase such and such. Oh, look at us. We're page 1 for best insurance providers, my town. Look at us. In the future, there is no ranking. Ranking doesn't exist. Because right now, if Luke does a search on ChatGPT, let's say hypothetically, and Dan does a search, and you live in the same town, you could be brothers in the same house. Are they going to get the same or different results? They're going to get different results. There's no set result because it's based on you. It's personalized to you and your history. So they're same search, same town, same house, going to get different results. Very interesting. A little bit scary, a little bit exciting. It's all the things. It's all the things. So make sure your mindset is, it's not about rankings. Now, by the way, have I said that legacy Google, existing Google, have I said that doesn't matter today? I haven't said that, so no one run out here and fire your SEO company or stop doing paid ads if you're doing paid ads. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that's not your future. That is not your future. So we got to talk about what our future is. If it's not going to be built on Google, what's it going to be built on? Well, you have to say, all right, if AI is not recommending me, my business, my agency, individually, my agents even, if it's not, we're in trouble. It has to be recommending us. And just for context for this, right now, raise your hand if, because I've done this poll in every audience for the last year, raise your hand if you prefer to use ChatGPT or, it doesn't matter to me, Perplexity, or it could be Gemini, it could be Claude, whatever it is. Raise your hand if you prefer to search first on a ChatGPT or LLM before going to Google. So raise your hand if you use an LLM before Google at this point. So look at the room. That was more than us, probably at least 50%. At least 50%. So if that's today in 2026, 1 year, if we're right now 50 to 60% in this room, where's it going to be in the next 12 months? You know, we know it's going to be at least 75, 80%. Then it's going to be 90, 95%. And then eventually you're all going to be saying, do you remember when we used to click on blue links? Wasn't that weird? That's so crazy. Like, we didn't even know what we were clicking on. We're just like, I'm like clicking on that blue link right there. It's wild. This is how it works, okay? So that is the trend line. If anybody tells you Google is not losing any visitors, or if any SEO says Google's going to be unchanged, unaffected, they are literally on drugs. They have no idea what they're talking about. They are deniers of inevitability. I wrote one of the most known books in the world on how to dominate with Google with the Ask You Answer. And I am telling you, do not bet your future on legacy-based search. Cool? Okay, now, our mission, therefore, is to become the most known and trusted brand in our market. How do we do that? Well, we've got to do that with two entities. We've got to do it now with humans, but we also have to do it with AI. AI needs to love you and trust you and know you as a human would. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. And we're going to be rooted in this right here, which we call trust signals. A trust signal is any piece of content online about you, your people, your agency, or, written by you, or written by others, or produced by others. So anything that exists on the digital web about you is a trust signal. Every review, every video, every article, every comment is a trust signal that eventually AI will consume, and it will make a judgment on you based on that. These are trust signals. Everybody got it so far? Now, your job is to create more positive trust signals than anyone else in your market. And if you create more positive trust signals, you will win. Because what AI is looking for is authority so that they can place their trust in you. AI knows it has a problem, which is trust. And so it's obsessed with making sure that if it's going to recommend to anyone out there, an insurance provider, it's got to make sure that it doesn't screw this up. So you have to show how trustworthy you are to the AI. And I'm going to show you how to do that today, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Some of it is technical, some of it's nerdy, some of it's geeky, some of it's hard to understand. It just is. And these phrases are going to become like big deals to your life in the future. They are evolving, though. Let me give you an example of a trust signal. There's different types. Some are technical signals. For example, verified NAP consistency. Does anybody in here know what NAP means? Name, address, and phone number. Now, it just so happens that when your NAP, or name, address, and phone number, isn't exactly the same across every platform on the web, guess what AI does? It says, I'm not sure I can trust them. That's what happens. Now, I have a tool that I'm going to show you here in a second, and we have measured over 4,000 businesses with NAP scores online. 1 out of 4,000, I'm not exaggerating, scored perfect. More than half of the companies we measured failed NAP score. In other words, they're not sure the name of their business. Now you say, we don't have that problem. I guarantee you do have that problem. Half of you in the room at least have that problem. Because what happened is, you're on some other platforms. It could be Yelp for all I know. It could be some other like review platform. It doesn't really matter what it is. Better Business Bureau. And you missed a semicolon in your address, and because of that, your NAP score is screwed up. And once again, AI says, I don't know if I can trust those folks. AI wants to know that your website is secure. AI, and this is a big one we're going to talk about, site they can get a sense for, in your case, rates. Many of you have a serious issue here. And this is one of the top two. The top two, we know, we've got more measurement than any probably company in the world on these signals, because this is our world now, this is my world now. and this is a big problem for folks. Public review score. We're going to talk about that. On-page content richness. Are you a great teacher in your space? Accuracy of claims. If you have claims that are not accurate and not verifiable, you'll get dinged. Answer focused structure. Advanced schema deployment. This is the most nerdy of them all. We'll talk about it later. Answer focused semantic structure. This is classic They Ask You Answer 101. Presence of all 13 pages with details about the author and the team so as to verify they're true experts. Educational content hub. Once again, They Ask You Answer 101. Case studies and testimonial presence. Some of you have that, but you don't have them the right way. I'm going to show you the right way. Content service area. How much are you really discussing, or are you not really hitting the breadth of content you should based on the different types of insurance that you offer? Content freshness. Turns out that AI hates old content, and not even that old. Like beyond a year, it stopped showing it. Google page one. If you're on page one of Google, it still does affect your ability to show up with AI. Brand values now suddenly matter, whereas humans don't care as much about them, believe it or not. AI pays attention to them. On-page contact about us depth. You want to make sure you can get contact that AI does. On-page policy and ethics. If it feels like you don't have a good policy and ethics, like mindset within your company, it'll ding you. Industry awards and recognition. This one's huge, actually. It's a big deal. I'm going to show it to you. And then authoritative outbound citations. It really cares that you are mentioning other companies and linking to them on your website, whereas we didn't do that with Google. We wanted everybody to link to us. But now, in many ways, it's about linking out. Now, I know all of this right here seems super nerdy. This is one of those things where, because I am very concerned that some of you are going to be invisible to AI, you're not going to be recommended. This is one of those things where there's no way around for me to teach this without getting super technical. I wish I didn't have to, but that's just where we are. Now, I do want to help you out with this, though, and I created a software that measures the likelihood of AI to trust you and to show you, and it's called AI Trust Signals. And it gives you a free score for your agency, and we're going to go to it in a second because everybody's actually going to test this right now, and some of you are going to be freaked out by what you see. And that's okay, because that's why we come to these events. Because whatever you see, your competitors probably see something very similar. So it's all good. I don't want anybody to say, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. No, it's totally fine. So here's what I want you to do. One person from the company. So I don't want two people from the same company to do this, because there is a massive amount of juice we're getting ready to use. And I want you to go to AITrustSignals.com. How it works is this. Go there. You have to put in your email and you have to put in your company URL. It's going to make you verify your email. It does that because that's required by law. So you have to go back to your email. You have to verify it's you. And then you go back to the tool. You put in your URL, your website address, and then it's going to start to run a test. This test is going to measure how you're scoring with those 19 signals that I just showed you. This is not something you can test with like a Claude. This is not something you can test with ChatGPT right now. Trust me, you can't do it, because every time somebody in this room runs a test, what I'm about to show you, it costs me about $3 personally. It costs me $3. So you can't do this with regular AI. This software that took a lot of money to build, you're going to get a free score in a second. All right, this is how this works. Not in a second. It's going to take you about 10 minutes. Now, here's how we're going to do it. Once you have verified, gone back, put in your URL, I want you to put your phone on the table face down, and I don't want you to pay attention to your score, because we're going to come back to the score later. We're going to do it later. We're going to look at your score, and we're going to spend, after the break, the whole time talking about how you can improve the score that you're so disappointed with. Now, some of you might be happy with your score, and some of you might do actually pretty well, but we're going to find out. We're going to know. I don't know where you are. If you've been doing They Ask You Answer, I can tell you're going to be one of the highest scores in the room. It just so happens that AI loves companies that have been doing this mindset of They Ask You Answer. Okay, does anybody have any questions about this? The result is going to look like this. You're going to see a speedometer that's going to tell you a range of where you are. It's going to give you a score like, let's say, 50 to 80. If you get a score 50 to 80, it means the median point is your actual score. So in this case, that would be 65. You want to look at your score, your number, as a letter grade. 90 to 100 is an A. 70 to 80 is a C. Below 70 is failing, and it means you should be concerned and get to work very quickly so that AI starts to like you more. Everybody got it? Okay? So we will talk about that again a little bit later. You don't have to worry about it right now. Okay. Any questions so far? Everybody good? Noah, you feeling this?
Great.
All right, good. Did I see you in the elevator yesterday, Noah? Were you running yesterday? That was you. You don't remember me, but I remember him. That's right. He's like, he was just some goofy redneck I saw. That's right. All right, so I want to talk to you now. Everybody ready to shift over away from those trust signals now? Okay. I want to talk to you now about a few of those, but I want to talk about it at scale. Because how can you, with the human and with the AI, become more known and trusted? I'm going to give you 4 pillars today. I'm going to challenge you to adhere to these 4 pillars going forward. Some of you have been doing these. Some of you need to do some of them better. But I want to get into them. If you want to become the most known and trusted voice in your market with humans and AI, number 1, you've got to be willing to say online what others in your space are not willing to say. So Tom, right now, can you say that you consistently talk about things online, let's say textually or audio or video, that the majority of your, let's say, competitors are not talking about? In fact, they say things like, oh yeah, we would never talk about that. I can't believe Tom's talking about that.
I do not do that today.
That's a good, honest, self-aware answer. Most in this room would not be able to say that they are that different. And if there's one industry, and this is not a knock on you all, but if there's one industry that suffers a bit from the sea of sameness, it's insurance. There's a lot of folks in this room that are very similar in terms of how you approach the market. Things that you say, the things that you do, your websites look very, very similar, stuff like this. All right? I'm hoping after today, you're going to start to think a lot more differently. You're going to try to be more of an outlier. Number 2, you got to be willing to show with video what others in your space are not willing to show. Are you showing with video right now that which the majority of your competitors would say, yeah, we would never show that? Number 3, you got to be willing to sell in a way others in your space are not willing to sell. Are you selling right now in a way that your competitors would say, yeah, I can't believe they sell like that. We would never do that. If you're not, I'm going to challenge you to think differently. I'm going to show you how today. And finally, number 4, in a time of AI, in a time of increased technology, and in a time of increased disconnectedness, which is the wild part about it, you've got to be more human than others in your space are willing to be. When somebody thinks about your brand, do they see a face? Is there a Colonel Sanders behind your brand, or is it just a faceless entity? Most are faceless entities. So we've got to make sure we do better. All right, we're going to get into each one. Let's start with pillar number 1. Say what others are not willing to say online. This is one thing that hasn't changed. If you've ever heard me before, this continues to dominate the way people search, the way they find agencies, etc. And that is the big 5. We know when somebody is researching a serious buying decision, when they're trying to engage an insurance provider, there's 5 things they tend to research. 5 subjects. But they're not insurance specific. You see it in industries all over the world. 5 things. What is one thing you always research before you reach out to a company? Anybody go? Price is 1. Another one I heard was reviews. Those are 2 of the big 5. 2 of the big 5. You always research this. Now, if you do it every single time, there's a pretty decent chance that your customer might be doing it every single time. Here are the 5 things that runs this industry. Our customers are researching cost, fees, rates, etc. Anything to do with money. That's number 1. Number 2, they're researching problems / fears / concerns / worries. Turns out when we want to buy something, we want to know what could go wrong. Number 3, comparisons. We love to compare. How many times have you gone online and compared one thing versus another? It's just hundreds of times. Number 4, reviews. The thing about reviews, you don't just want the best reviews, you also want the good, the bad, and the ugly. Many of you start with the 1 stars or the 2 stars, not with the 5 stars, because you want to see exactly how they handled that situation. And then finally, we've got best. Think about how many times you've gone online and searched best plus another phrase. Best, most, top. These are the same things. These are the big 5. Now, who here is producing content for their website right now within your organization? What's your name, ma'am? Teresa. Okay, good. Now, Teresa, I want you to be super self-aware here. I want you to think about the content that you're producing for your site. What percentage of that content relates to these 5 things? Now, I will tell you that the average business is about 10% or less, just to give you context for the average business. Where would you say you guys are in terms of the content you're producing?
We really focus on problems and then just comparison stuff. Not really comparison, but like education.
So what percentage would you say of your content is related to these 5 things?
5%.
Okay, so 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
Super aware, right? I'm going to show you today how you can make it more like 80%, because that's actually where you want to be. Okay. And you're going to say wow, you're already, in fact, some of you in this room are looking at the top one already and you're saying, can't do it. It was just so fun. This is what's so great. There's no way, can't pull it off, yada, yada, yada. I know, I've heard it a billion times at this point. So we're going to get into each one, and I want to start with the elephant in the room, because I think this is the thing that many industries still just don't understand. I need everybody's participation with this one, because this is like an exercise in your personal psychology, all right? By show of hands, how many of you have researched how much something cost online in the last year? By show of hands, all right? Anybody not done this? Everybody good? Somebody didn't raise their hand. Just want to make sure everybody's, living off the grid or anything like that, Deanna. We're good, right? All right, good. Now, when you're on a website and you're looking for cost and price information and you cannot find it, what is the emotion you experience?
Annoyed.
Yeah, I heard frustration, irritation, annoyed, right? Yep. So we like to say frustration is the F word of the internet. So what gives you the right to feel so frustrated? You're the what? Consumer. You're the consumer, and you're trying to make what? What decision are you trying to make right now, Justin? Yeah, should I buy this thing or not? And they're making it really dang hard on you, Justin. Now, here's the question. In that moment of frustration, Justin, do you say, oh, I'm sure it's on this website somewhere, I'll just keep on looking until I find it? You don't do that, do you? In fact, we know how long the average person will look on a website for cost and price information before they leave. Take a guess how long they'll stay. About 10 seconds. Okay, 5 if they're from the Northeast. Basically. All right. Yeah, I know, it just works out every single time. It's wild. Okay, so in that moment of frustration, this is important. When Justin can't find any pricing information, does he say, well, of course they can't talk about this. Their insurance. Every job is different, and everyone has different factors that are going to dictate their terms, and it's a very customized solution. I'll call them on the phone instead. Is that what he does? No. Because as the buyer, as the searcher, Justin keeps doing what? He keeps searching until what happens? Until he finds what he's looking for. And generally speaking, whoever's going to give him what he was looking for is going to get what? His business. And if not his business, at least he's going to get first contact, first phone call. And I'm sure we could all agree in this room, if you had a choice, you would rather be the first company contacted, yes or no? Yes. For years, as I've been speaking to different insurance companies, and by the way, we've had some incredible case studies with insurance providers, okay? Some of you are already wondering, have you had anybody? Yes. But guess what I'm not going to do today? I did it intentionally. I'm not going to show you any insurance providers. Do you know why? It's so interesting. I never would have anticipated this. The companies that hear me speak and then say, can you show me someone in my industry that has done this well? They stink at this. Because they need some type of verifiable proof. You can go to our website and you can literally find case studies from insurance agencies. We're not going to lean into that. I want you to do the work today. I'm going to show you the principle, and lots of times it's going to be about a pool example, and it's not about pools. It's about you, your agency, and it's your job to make sure you see how the principle applies to you. I will help massage it, but it's your job. But if you are thinking to yourself today, I want to see another insurance provider that has done this well, I'm just like, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. The mindset has to be, we're going to be the first mover because, and you're going to get some ideas today. Trust me, you're going to get plenty of ideas, but you've got to have the right mindset. Now, there's 3 reasons why we tend not to talk about pricing and rates in the industry. 3 major reasons. Anybody want to give the answers? Why? Wait. Before I do this, let me just say one thing. The real reason we get so upset as the buyer, Justin, is because we know that they know a semblance of the answer. And because we know they know a semblance of the answer and they're not giving it to us, we now feel like they're hiding something from us. And the moment you feel like anybody is hiding anything from you online, what happens? Trust is gone. Now, how often does somebody come to your website and think they're hiding? They're not telling me everything. Now, you would like to say they don't do that. They do that. They do that. In fact, by a show of hands, how many of you in this room talk a lot about your rates on your website right now? Maybe they didn't hear the question. Let's try again. See, this is extraordinary to me. And this is the part that I love because I ask the question and immediately some of you even change your posture. You fold your arms, you lean back. You're like, I don't know if I like pool guy anymore. I mean, it's like all these things that are happening right now with you emotionally. And I love it because when I see a fire, I run into it. Because that's where we're going to grow. This is where the opportunity of growth is. So let's analyze the reasons why you don't do it. All right. This is fun to break down the psychology. The first reason why you don't do it, go ahead.
Very difficult. You can't put pricing online. Every client comes with different needs.
Okay, good.
Circumstances.
Every client comes with different needs, different circumstances, and Sharon is even getting a little bit passionate about this. She went like this with her hand a couple of times. It's like, don't you understand? It ain't pools, right? And I'm like, this is so good. Hold up. You'll get your chance to play too. Don't you worry. Now, here's the thing. Sharon, if I came to you, what type of insurance do you sell most commonly?
Property and casualty.
Property and casualty, okay? And if I came to you and I said, could you help give me a general sense for what I might spend with property and casualty? Could you help me get a sense?
No. I have to.
So you've never had anyone ask you that question before.
I have it every day.
You have it every single day. And I guarantee you, you follow up with questions, don't you?
I follow up.
Yes, you follow up with questions. What are the questions you follow up with?
So if it's car insurance, I need to know your driving record.
Okay, I'm going to get your driving record. What else are you going to need to know?
I need your driving license.
All right. What are the questions though outside of like you're going to run some report, like you're going to run some reports? What are some other things that you're going to ask them? This is important.
This is a very easy line, so not many.
So you're going to ask them about what is your general record? Is it clean? Is it okay?
Do you have any accidents?
Do you have any accidents? Good.
Cars you have?
Good. Perfect. Now, if somebody said to you, Sharon, now listen, I'm just trying to get a general sense for typical ranges for somebody like myself. Could you give them a general range? And don't you say no to me now, Sharon, because you're too good at your job to say no to this.
I would probably will, and I would probably be right also.
Aha. So you're saying you could.
But I'm also
So you're saying you could give them a roughly accurate range.
also saying that
Wait a second. A minute ago, you said there's no way you could do that. But now you're telling me you could. In fact, you have before done this. Oh, my goodness. But now, listen, this is great. This is great. I know. The difference between, wait. The difference between you and I, though, is I actually have the data on this, and you do not. All right? And the truth is, when insurance companies are willing to talk about this, they win. Now, I'm going to show you how you can do this and not put yourself in a corner, because what you're thinking is, I'm going to put myself in a corner. And so because I'm going to put myself in a corner and trap myself, then it could make me look bad or it could frustrate the client, correct? Now, by the way, that was really awesome. So thanks for elevating the senses in the room. Give Sharon a big round of applause. She did a great job. Now, we're going to come back to it. The second reason why we say we can't talk about it Anybody?
We're viewed as a commodity.
Okay.
We focus.
So if we talk about it, it commoditizes it. Also, in conjunction with that, we say things like, well, if somebody sees what it is, and if they see that it's more expensive than they think it's going to be, then we just might scare them away. Do you know what scares people away online? It's not when you educate them. It's not when you teach them. It's not when you explain value, but rather when you're trying to find something and you don't get it. There's nothing. What scares you online way more is when you can't find anything. In other words, ignorance. We hate ignorance. We hate surprises. We hate not knowing today. And number 3 reason why we tend to not talk about cost and price, we say, you might not say this, well, I just don't want my competitors to know. Now, what's silly about this is, if I say to anybody that's been in the game, do you have a rough sense as to what your competitors charge? What would you say? Of course, because you're not dumb. Because you've done the market research. You've been in the game. So if you know what roughly they charge, they therefore know what? Roughly what you charge. This is the big secret, non-secret. Everybody acts like nobody knows what everybody's charging, when in reality, everybody's got a decent sense as to what everybody else is charging. But besides that, when was the last time your competitors paid your bills? They don't. And so I'm here to tell you, do not base decisions on what your competition right now is or is not doing. It is the customer that should be your guiding light. Now, many of you still are not sold, and I'm totally here for it. That's expected. When we embrace this mindset of they ask, you answer, we said, all right, we're going to talk about how much a pool costs. When we did this, guess how many pool companies in the world had addressed how much it costs to install a pool on their website? 0. What were they afraid of? Number 1, every job is different. Number 2, I don't want to scare them away. Number 3, I don't want my competitors to see it. What's funny is this is almost every industry. You just have unique variations, but fundamentally it's the same in every industry. Now, we said, all right, I think we can talk about this. And so we did. And we said, buying a fiberglass pool, it's a lot like buying a car. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of accessories. And we explained the factors that drive it up and explained the factors that drive it down. Now, because we did that, something pretty amazing happened. Keeping in mind, nobody in the world had done this. From a search perspective, if you went online, you searched anything to do with how much a fiberglass pool costs, we were the first ones you saw, organic search results, left side of the page. That's not a win yet because we haven't made money. Let's make money. So here's a list. This is going to get a little bit analytical, but I promise it'll make sense. After we wrote this article, here's the number 1 phrases that generate the most traffic to our website over the next couple years. So the number 1 with 13,000 visitors was fiberglass pool prices. So somebody went online, typed in fiberglass pool prices, and of those, 30 of them filled out a form and said, I want to get a quote from you. Now, the reason why this conversion is so low from here to here is because at the time we were just a small business in Virginia, but still that's 30 appointments we wouldn't have had. Now, what is the red arrow? The red arrow indicates a phrase that when somebody searched that particular phrase, they landed on that article on the website, how much does a fiberglass pool cost? So we've got roughly 200 plus sales appointments that occurred from people that originally landed on that article, on that page, on the website, how much does a fiberglass pool cost? Here's the important question. If the article's never written, if we never address the subject, how many of those appointments would have ever occurred? None. But in this case, they did occur. And many of them did come to the site. They did start reading, watching, whatever it was. Many of them filled out a form. Many of them ended up getting a quote. Many of them ended up buying. We know the names of the ones that bought. We know the value of each one of their pools. And therefore, I can add up all the value of all the people that bought that originally landed on that one single article. And I know without equivocation that one single article has now generated, just for a company in Virginia, $35 million in sales. One article. And did we ever say exactly how much a fiberglass pool cost? So am I saying to you that you have to put your exact rates on your website? Yes or no? No. What am I suggesting to you, Mike?
That we use our knowledge and
yes,
put an estimate of what the right price is.
That's right. You help them understand what defines value in this industry. Because if you don't teach them, Mike, who will?
The competitor.
The competitor. How do you feel about that?
Not good.
I don't feel good about it either. What's interesting, though, is I could also go to ChatGPT right now, and I could get a generalized quote right now on ChatGPT, couldn't I? Absolutely. And is that generalized quote going to be accurate? In most cases, right now, no. And do you know why it's not actually going to be very accurate right now?
Because nobody's got the price.
Because nobody's willing to talk about this. And so we're feeding the AI no to bad information, and therefore it's giving the customer bad information, and then we complain about the customer coming to us with a bad sense of expectations. And the root cause was
We didn't
us.
give an answer.
That's exactly right. Isn't it fascinating, Mike?
Yeah, it's real fascinating.
But you're not sold, which is totally cool. I can look at you and tell. It's so great. You're still holding so many doubts. It's fascinating. Golly, it's so cool. Now, before we go on, I'm going to answer your questions in a second. There's 5 levels of how you can talk about price and cost online. All right, I'm going to show you those different levels. Here we go. Number 1 level, you have a pricing or a rates page, but all it has is a form they can fill out. Anybody ever clicked on the pricing tab of a website and then quickly you see a form and that's all you see? Does it give you the warm fuzzies? Do you just want to marry that company for the rest of your life, right? Actually, you want to flog them, don't you? All right, that's number 1. It's level 0. It's not even level 1. Level 1, a pricing page that shows cost but gives absolutely no explanation. Think software as a service. A lot of SaaS companies do that. So that's no good because that does commoditize. Level 2, a pricing page that explains all the factors that affect costs but doesn't actually give them a sense for real numbers. AI can't stand that. You will not get rewarded, and humans get annoyed with that too. That used to work a little bit with SEO, doesn't work anymore. Level 3, now we start to cook. Level 3 is a robust pricing page that explains value, gives ranges, examples, graphics, etc. That is your starting point right there. Level 4, the same as level 3, but you do it in the form of a video. In level 5, you have level 3 and 4 on your site, but you also have what's called a pricing estimator, a rate calculator, if you will. All right? Now, here's where you need to be if you want to make sure AI loves you, because this is what we found. Depending on the industry, the number 1 or A or 1B trust signal that dictates whether or not you get recommended by AI is your willingness to address, go ahead and say it, rates, price. So you can all in this room think that you're not going to address it. I'm telling you, you're going to be forced to do it. And what's going to force you to do it is the thing that I didn't even know was going to force you to do it. It's AI. Because you're going to see that you're not recommended often. It's going to be killing you. And you're going to make a shift. And that shift is going to be right here. Now, some of you are still saying, I don't think I can do this. Let me show you how you create the perfect pricing page. Of course, you got to make this work for insurance. Not everyone's going to apply, but it's very close. By the way, this entire system, of course, is in the book. It's in the book. Oh, by the way, I'm supposed to give some books away. And the first book that I have to give away is to my friend over here, who I got in an argument with, who I love so much, right?
He's got a gun.
All right. Give Sharon a round of applause again for the book. All right, good. Actually, it wasn't an argument. It was fun. I'm totally into that type of thing. Okay, so when it comes to the perfect pricing page, this is how you want to build it. And if you're being honest, you can pretty much address every one of these I'm about to show you. Number 1, what are the factors that drive up rates? Can you address that? What are the factors that drive them down? Why are some agencies more expensive? Why are some agencies more cheap? Tracking with me so far? We've just defined value, by the way. Where do your rates generally fall for the majority of your customers? Explain variations in industry packaging and levels. Could we do that? Explain lifetime cost versus initial price. Show historical pricing trends. Show financing as part of the conversation. Probably not specific to us, but that's okay. Show examples visually with corresponding price ranges. Could you do that? Of course you could. List pricing related or rate related FAQs. Discuss hidden costs. Include charts, graphs, etc. AI stinking loves that. Could you embed a pricing video? Indeed you could. Could you discuss without bias, is this type of insurance really worth it? Heck to the yeah. And finally, could you finish with an estimator? We'll talk about that. The answer is yes. So I've got like 15 or 16 on there. Only one, which is financing, in my opinion, is not really applicable to insurance. Yay or nay? What's that? Okay, good. We got an angry one here. All right, Dawn. All right, good. She's like, no, nay. I said nay.
Don't listen.
I'm like, wow, we're like back in English court again. This is great. Okay.
She just wants a book.
Okay. My man says she just wants a book. Okay. Which one?
I'm thinking about what you said. I'm on this side of the room.
Oh.
You know what it is? It's,
Yeah.
I wrote down, it's paid in full. It's,
All right, wait. Where is paid in full up here? I just want to make
your
sure.
financing. You talked about financing.
Oh, so you're saying financing, you could do that?
Yeah, I could explain.
So you're saying all of them to apply?
I can do all of those.
Oh, well, you're not a naysayer at all, are you? Well, daggone.
You said you could do that one, and I said no.
Oh,
I
yeah.
could do that one.
I didn't realize we had such an advocate. Give me a dang book. Give me a book up here. We need a book, Cass. Let's go. Let's go. All right?
I like all of these.
Dawn, you're so dang awesome. Give Dawn a round of applause. All right. That was an unexpected surprise. All right. So if you do this, I'm telling you right now, because I've done this with hundreds of companies, hundreds. I've got empirical data. This does incredibly well with legacy search engines. This does incredibly well with AI, and humans love this. And you haven't put yourself in a corner at all. And all you've done is earn more trust. And here's the challenge. If you don't do this within the next 14 days, 2 weeks, you're just being lazy. You're just being lazy. In fact, you're being really lazy because I built a tool for you to build it tonight. And it's called the Perfect Pricing Page by Sheridan. This is how it works. This is a free tool. You don't opt in. You don't pay anything. There's nothing. It's a custom GPT on ChatGPT. It's built on thousands and thousands of hours of Marcus Sheridan, blah, 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 right? And so you go here and you say, all right, I am an insurance agency. I want to create a pricing page for this particular line of insurance. Help me create it. Ask me any questions you need to ask. And it will build it out for you as an outline. Then you can say, hey, let's have a conversation about it, and then I want you to help me to write it. Or you can go write it. Or you can just go back and forth with it with audio, but either way, it'll help you to produce it. And when it's done, you take the URL that you produce, you put it back in, and then say, I want you to give me a grade for this page of my site to see how you did. And it'll give you a grade, tell you what you fell short on and what you nailed. All right, so this thing is magical. And the link to it is going to be in the deck. It's going to be in the deck. We won't do it right now, but this thing is baller. You're going to love it. All right, we had a couple questions about pricing. Nice and loud. Go ahead, stand up. Real loud. Come on. Yes, sir.
So,
I've got it right here. But go ahead. I'll repeat the question.
going against the grain a little bit here. So, what, in your opinion, I think like a platform economy like Uber or Lyft, and where you have an environment an economy that's been created by the technology and the pricing is set, right? So we just become a vendor, like somebody who buys a car and now the pricing is set by Uber or Lyft. What would stop AI from becoming that, where it's embedded like we all do all day and we ask every question that we have and they know AI, ChatGPT knows us intimately? What would stop ChatGPT from creating a platform economy for insurance, them setting the pricing and really dictating who gets that, who ultimately gets that lead, instead of them trusting us because we have a good website or being the highest bidder and this person is going to be recommended in this area.
Yeah.
So what do you think that that's something that can happen where ChatGPT can ultimately become a platform economy for everything? I think about the last time I rented a house, a cabin in the woods. I don't go to anybody's website, I go to Airbnb. So how would that affect us on the insurance side?
So you asked me, could it happen? And I'm sure it will happen. There's no question about it. Now, is that the answer that we want to hear? I don't know. I do know it's the truth. But I also know this. Those that do this are going to counteract what you just described better than anyone else in the room. Because what I'm trying to tell you to do and show you how to do is to create more value than anybody in the market. Have the human love you and have the AI love you.
What if it works against us? What if
How would it work against you?
because what if we put specific on a pricing model or range, and it's way out of what the AI is recommending or what they think, because AI has more money and more data than what we have, so they can go make their own insurance program. And if they have certain rates, but we're putting rates that are not aligning with that, they have a platform economy. If we don't fit into that economy, do we get left out because now we said too much and it doesn't align with what they think?
So you have a choice, right? You could be within 3 groups. First group is the agency, and this is the majority that talk about nothing in terms of rates, okay? And people are visiting their sites every day. Next group, you have this very extreme minority that's talking about and teaching value and says, I'm going to give you a range. It may be higher or lower, but this is the general range that we see. And then you have another one, very human-based, by the way. And then you have another one that is a machine, and it gives a quick range. Now, are people going to be using that? Probably so. But of these 2, which one are you going to use? First or second?
For me, it depends on the.
Don't even, listen, don't even, you're telling me as a consumer, you would be more attracted to the company that teaches you nothing than the company that teaches you everything about what you're trying to know.
Do this. Why don't we get up and walk to the corner store and buy something because we got to get out, get a shopping cart, or order.
Wait. I asked you a question. Are you more aligned with a company that educates you well or doesn't educate you at all?
Sometimes it doesn't matter. It's about convenience.
Are you more generally aligned with the company that educates you well or doesn't educate you at all? If the answer is you don't know, that's fine, but I'm telling you this isn't for you then. And that's okay.
I think generally.
How many of you would be more aligned with the company that wait. How many of you would be more aligned with the company that educates you?
And how many
now,
would be more aligned with a company that's just more convenient? And people not necessarily.
The idea is that you are more convenient and more educational. That's what we're saying. This is not an either-or conversation. But you have to start thinking more like a consumer and less as a biased owner right now. If you're staying in biased owner land, you're going to find all these reasons why you can't do things that make common sense. Of course, it's not going to be an easy road. Of course, there's going to be technology that comes out and disrupts the entire industry. What do you want me to say? Of course it's coming. But what I'm telling you is between A and B, there's nothing close between the two. So I have seen thousands of businesses that have dominated because of B. That's all I can tell you, man.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to what you're saying. I'm thinking exactly like a consumer, because every single day we think today more about convenience than we do about trust. But my question to you is, how do we?
Wait. Are you saying if you completely don't trust a company, but they're more, quote, convenient, you'll still buy from them?
I think that number increases every day. Yes.
Generally speaking.
And it's not that you don't trust them. It's that.
All right, we're gonna stop right there. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Let me just say this. There's a lot of people that make offers that were the cheapest you didn't choose, and you didn't choose them. Why? There's a lot of companies that were the cheapest that you didn't choose in your life. And the reason why you didn't choose them was why? Because you didn't trust that they could fulfill as others would. By the way, what's your name? Veery. Give Veery a round of applause. Good job, Veery. Good job. All right. We got to move on. Hey, by the way, tension's great. I love tension because it means we're growing. And I actually literally congratulate you, Veery, because this is the type of if you're not talking like this in your boardroom, you're not having great conversations. I have a sales and leadership training company, and this is what we try to teach leadership teams to get to, is that conversation you and I were having right now. That's good. The world is oh, that's uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable. You and I are fighting for growth is what we're trying to do, and we're working through it together. That's what matters. That's why we come to these events. Cass has created a place where we can do that, which is a beautiful thing. Again, very good job on your part. All right, now, what time we got? So I want to make sure we hit our break.
9:35.
Okay. We started at 8:30? Yeah, okay, we're gonna take a break at 10 o'clock, just so you know, okay? At 10 o'clock. Now, let's keep going. Real quick. I'm gonna go through these other 5 very quickly. Problems. It just so happens that people are very fearful when making important decisions. And so, for example, it used to be that people would constantly say to us, what are the problems with the fiberglass pool? Now, nobody in the world had addressed the problems with fiberglass pools online. We openly talked about it. And here's how we talked about it. The top 5 fiberglass pool problems and solutions. But I want to show you what happened as a result of this. As a result of this, over the next couple of years, when somebody would go online, here's the list of the number 1 phrases that generated the most sales appointments over the next couple years. So we had 56 people filled out a form that had typed river pools and spas. I don't count that one because they were looking for us. The rest of the people that you see on the screen didn't know who they were looking for. They just knew they had a question. So the number 1 phrase that generated the most sales appointments over the next couple years was fiberglass pool problems. How is it that people looking for the problems of fiberglass pools became one of our highest lead generation sources? And once again, it goes back to that magical word, which is trust. The greatest way in life to resolve a concern is to address it before it becomes a concern. And so everything comes back to this point. So we're going to show you some examples from insurance in just a minute, but you want to lean into the fears. Now, comparisons. People love to compare. They love to compare agencies. They love to compare quotes. They love to compare different types of insurance. It's prolific. It is prolific. And so I used to get asked the question all the time, Marcus, what's the difference between fiberglass and concrete? Which is better, fiberglass or concrete? And do you know, no one had bothered to address that question. Why? Because they were afraid. The fiberglass pool company was afraid that if they talked about concrete pools online, well, then suddenly the world would know there's this thing called concrete pools. It's wild. So instead of ignoring it, we leaned into it. Here's an article that we wrote about it, fiberglass versus concrete versus vinyl liner, an honest comparison. We didn't say fiberglass was better. We just said, here are the pros and cons to each type of pool. Now you decide. And because we did that today, to this day, if you go online, you compare any type of in-ground pool, oftentimes you're going to read our stuff. That generated millions in sales. I'm going to do one last one with you, which is best, and then we're going to do a quick activity, and then we're going to take a break, I think, which is this. When it comes to best, I'm going to show you an example of how we do this, because in this industry, it is very, very important that when somebody searches best insurance providers near me or best insurance agencies for such and such type of insurance, you want to be like mentioned. That's a money phrase. Somebody searches best, they're going to spend money most likely. So how do you do this? I'm going to show you how we did it. This actually happens to be another pool company that we did it. This is a client, but we've done this with insurance companies before, and I'm going to show you how this works. If you want AI to recommend you, follow this, what I'm about to show you. There's Shasta pools. In Shasta, when somebody went online and said best pool companies, Arizona, Shasta wasn't showing up. So we had to create content that AI loved to make sure they showed up. So this is how we did it. First thing, you got the title, the top 6 pool builders in Arizona for 2025 reviews and ratings. All right, notice there's 2 of the big 5 in there. There's best with the top, and then there's reviews. So these are 2 of the big 5. By the way, AI loves it when you have the year, so it should be this year, of course. Now, what we did is we created a criteria for the industry that constitutes what makes the best pool builders. So no different if I said to you, what are some of the qualities that make for the best agencies? You could do that pretty easily, correct? So it's the same thing in this case. They said things like quality of work or design, or things like how many warranties did they pull last year, or do they have a service department, things like that. Now, once we created the criteria, they listed the individual companies that were the top in their area, including themselves. But the criteria is the one that's the key here, because I'm going to show you as it comes together now. They also, on the same article, the same page, they created this chart. Now, this is the money chart, and this is what AI loves, and this is what you need to learn to do right here. Comparing the best Arizona pool builders. We've got the criteria on the left side, and then we've got the pool companies on the top. And then it shows how each company fared in terms of each one of these criteria. Is everybody seeing it? So this is nothing like interpretive. These are all just like factual information. This is like public information. So there's no way that this can be argued. What's so powerful about this, though, is now when somebody, in most cases, not every time necessarily, but if somebody goes to ChatGPT and types in who are the best pool builders in Arizona, now Shasta, whereas before they weren't ever being shown, they're consistently being shown, and they're consistently getting visitors from this. Everybody in this room could do this, but it means if you're going to do this, you have to be willing to mention who? Your competitors. You see why people won't do it? It's like, oh, I can't imagine mentioning my competitors, which is ridiculous, because Tim, if somebody wants to know who your competitors are, roughly how long is it going to take them to figure it out? Seconds. So the idea that people won't know who your competitors are is silly. So instead of that, you use behavior to your advantage, and you say, everybody's going to find out, so I'm going to lean into this, which gives me a huge competitive advantage. People trust me way more, and then I do stuff like this. Yes, sir?
What about if one of your competitors decides that they're not happy with the information you put out there and they want to see you?
Yeah, what happens if your competitor decides they're not happy and they want to see you? Well, I will tell you that you don't make stuff up here. So you want to just stick to the facts. And generally, any phrase comes from their website. So they're not going to say, I can't believe you said what we said. You know what I'm saying? So you might say, this company specializes in such and such types of insurance. They've been around since been on this long. They have the original ownership in place. The owners are such and such. It's actually like, it sounds complimentary. There's no negative comment about the company whatsoever. Do you see what I'm saying? Very good question there. Thank you for clarifying that. All right. Now, any other questions about that? Just real quick, raise your hand if you're actually going to do that right there. Raise your hand if you're going to do that. Good. If it's more than 10%, that's a shockingly high number. All right, because most of you are going to be like, that's way too brave for me. All right. Now, so we talked about the big five. I want to do an exercise together because I want you to create your editorial calendar so that you can dominate this for the next 6 months. We're going to do it together right now. I built a tool for you that's free. All right, it costs you nothing. There's no opt-in. There's no nothing. It's called Endless Customers Title Coach by yours truly. So here's what's going to happen. I want you to go to the custom GPT page right now. All right, go and make sure when you land there, it says Endless Title Coach by Marcus Sheridan. You should see that you're now on the page. Then what I want you to do is I want you to say, I have an insurance agency in such and such town. I want you to help me create content around such and such types of insurance. You choose the types. Go. And then watch what it does. Watch what it does. All right?
What do we want to say?
So you want to say, I have an insurance agency in such and such town. I want you to create content ideas for these types of insurance. And then you just let it go. And it's going to cook. Yeah, if anybody writes such and such, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you at that point.
Canada. Just say
What did you say? I want you to create ideas about what? I can't type that.
The type of insurance. So you just choose a particular type of insurance. Has anybody gotten any answers yet?
Yeah.
All right. So we've got some right here. Do you mind if I look at yours? All right. Your name is Dirk. All right. Dirk's got some. All right. So Dirk is obviously from Brentwood. All right. And he's got his first one is he's focused on home insurance here. So he's got for costs. He's got how much does home insurance cost in Brentwood, California? Great piece. Why is home insurance so expensive in Contra Costa County? Contra Costa County, good. That's a really good one right there. What really impacts the cost of home insurance in California? How much coverage do you actually need for a Brentwood home? Is cheap home insurance worth the risk in California? How wildfire risk affects home insurance and pricing in Brentwood? What raises and lowers your home insurance premiums in California? Does home value or rebuild cost matter more for insurance? Why two Brentwood homes can have very different insurance rates? Can you still get affordable home insurance in California? Now, I'm telling you right now, Dirk, if you were working with me, if you were paying me money and I was coaching you, this is what it would look like. These are dead on. These are dead on. Let me just go to best real quick because I'm curious about best. I'm going to do best and reviews. So for reviews, we've got, they oftentimes combine best and reviews. Best home insurance companies for Brentwood, California homeowners. Who offers the best coverage for fire-prone areas in California? Are online home insurance companies worth it? An honest review. Top home insurance options for California families. These are money, dude. I hope you do them. And then what's wild about this, Derek, if I was just holding up my phone and I asked you one of these at a time, you've been in the game long enough, could you actually answer them if you're just speaking freely?
Absolutely.
100%. So that's what's so cool about it. So the thing is, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Question. I have a WordPress website.
Yeah.
Do these need to be actual web pages, or can you do like a blog post?
Well, a blog post is a web page, so it doesn't see it any differently. So you would, yes, you would create these. You'd make them blog posts. Ideally, we make them videos too. We put those videos on social. We put those videos on YouTube. But earlier, we were looking at content surface area. Remember that? Which was one of those major trust signals. This is how AI is going to truly see you as an expert. If my man Dirk does those 10 pricing points for homeowners insurance, that will make you in the top 1% of all agents in California in terms of discussing insurance rates online. There will be nobody like you. And it's like, it's all in your head right now, which is so wild. So it's just a matter of, are you willing to do the little bit of work to put it out there? I have given you the titles. Now all you have to do is do the work. You go ahead, Dirk.
So when you talk about the videos, just basically just a simple video.
Yes.
Questions, just so
Literally with a phone, you walking down the street. Hey, Brentwood residents, one of the questions we get a lot is this question right here. So I wanted to talk to you about it today, right? You know, how do you save on your property casualty here in Brentwood? All right, let's go into it right now. It's like, and you don't overthink it. You do it in one take. If you fumble a word, you keep going, because that's what you do anyway when you're with the customer. You don't stop and say, hey, I screwed that up. Can we start over again? Like, you don't do that. You see what I'm saying? It's way more authentic, right? And people know you're human, and it's way better. Yes, real quick.
You work in, say, various states, and you want to go, these blog pages. Back in the day, people would like key stuff and Black Hat. Like, you see some sites even today where they have every town in the whole state linked in a foot or something. But isn't that? I'm not arguing with what you say.
Yeah.
Similar if you say, what's the thing in San Diego, and then this town, this town, this town.
As you know, as long as it's not a copy paste procedure, and you're truly making it individual to that town, to that page. But if you're national and you're focused on different areas, you're probably going to need to produce for the areas. Otherwise, AI is not going to say they're an expert in that area. They might say they're a general expert, but not in that area. And this is why the area matters so much. Good question. Good question. Anybody else? Real quick.
What about the municipality or town name that you use in that, and how that might benefit or be a disadvantage against like your NAP score? Does that matter at all?
Against your NAP score, I don't know. I don't understand the question.
You're talking about authority and things matching. So
yeah.
Let's just say my address is Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But I know from the research that I've done, largely it being such a small community, people are searching more for the county or term central Pennsylvania or something like that. Does that conflict between
that doesn't mess with your NAP score, because your NAP score is this is when the platform has a listing for you. It's the one that's in your footer as well. But what comes out within articles is not affecting your NAP. All right, so there should be no incongruence there. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, real quick, Miles.
This might be a dumb question, but what is the difference between using your custom chat GPT to ask that question and just me generally asking it?
Yeah, because regular ChatGPT doesn't understand the big five and hasn't been trained to do this exactly as I know works. Whereas this, it has a lot of training behind it. And so it really is like you're paying me to consult with you, but you're spending nothing for it.
That's good, thank you.
Yeah, I think free is cool. Yeah. All right, now, do you feel challenged yet? All right, we're challenging assumptions. I told you earlier we were going to do that. But just remember, Even with how easy I try to make that for you, 5 to 10% of you are going to do what we just said. 5 to 10%. I would challenge you to be in that 5 to 10%. All right, I want to take a break, and then we're going to come back. Right now, the time is 9:50. We're going to be back at 10:05.
That's fine.
All right, 10:05. So 10:05, we want to be sitting, ready to go. I'll see you in 15. 20 seconds.
10 seconds, 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and are you guys enjoying this? Yeah. All right.
Hopefully no one is like mad at me yet. Good. Good. All right. So we're going to jump to pillar number 3. As based on time, we're going to focus on what I just showed you with pillar 1 is very much pillar 2 as well. In other words, if you do the big 5, if you do it with video, you're going to be showing things that no one's showing in your space. I'm going to show you a few more examples within pillar 3, though. That is an example of showing things that are different, showing more than others are willing to show. All right. So let's look at a mega trend, and then we're going to see how this applies to the world of insurance. 75% of all buyers today say they would prefer to have a seller-free sales experience. Right? Now, this doesn't mean we hate salespeople or agents. It just means we don't want to talk to one until when? Until we're confident, until we're comfortable, until we feel like we're informed and we're not going to make a mistake. That's right. So you could look at this and say, oh, I bemoan this is terrible. Or you can look at this and say, opportunity. We're going to choose opportunity always, because otherwise it's a waste of thought. How do we take advantage of it? We take advantage of it through what I refer to in the book as self-service. What does the self-service buyer want? All right, what does the self-service buyer want? Oh, by the way, before we move on, where's that microphone?
She has it.
Right here. I had somebody come to me during the break. What was your name? It's Tamara? Tamara. So if you could give it to Tamara. Tamara, she came up to me during the break, and she said, I had the craziest experience a couple years ago, so tell everybody about that really quick and why it was what it was for you.
So my husband and I decided to buy a pool. So I went online to do all the research on buying a pool. And you know what I found? I found exactly what he was showing, and it's one of the most satisfying purchase internet search experiences. I searched, how much does it cost? You know what I found? An answer. I searched, what are the problems with a fiberglass pool? You know what I found? The answer. And when I went to purchase, all my questions were already asked. So I think that's what you're saying. Like, I already got
It's crazy.
answers.
Who was the builder? Who was the builder? Where are you located at? What's your town?
It was in Port Sanilac in Michigan.
It was in Michigan. So she learned everything from us. She bought from another builder. I have no idea if they're in a dealer or not. Did we get a commission? No, but we got a happy person right here 4 years later. So give it up right there for Tim. By the way, these books are signed, which means when you sell them next week used, you'll get 50 cents more when you sell them, okay, which is pretty exciting for you. All right, so getting back to self-service. A self-service tool is any tool on your site that is interactive, that allows someone to take an action or get an answer that previously they would have had to have done by talking with a human first. So let's look at these very quickly. I'm only going to show you 2 in detail, which is self-selection and self-pricing, but let's look at self-assessment. Self-assessment is when somebody gets a score. So what would be an example of this? An example would be that you might say to someone, hey, I want to give you, assess your company's commercial insurance readiness. Are you truly covered? And they answer a series of questions, and at the end, they get a grade or a score. Just like you all already did one of these earlier and have seen now a score for your site, which we're going to get to. I haven't forgotten about it, okay? So that is self-assessment. You could build one of these right now. Everybody in this room, you could build it with Claude or ChatGPT, but you could build easily with Claude. You could build it in 15 minutes and have it working on your website tonight. Why is Claude better than ChatGPT? It's better with certain things, and this is personal preference. I find it's a much better writer, and it's much better with code, and most programmers around the world prefer Claude Code versus using ChatGPT. But ChatGPT is a better research tool. So if you're going to do research, ChatGPT is much better. Okay? Now, that's self-assessment. Self-selection is when someone is trying to choose between choices. You ask a series of questions, you make a recommendation. We'll look at that. Configurator is when you help someone build the thing. Pricing is when you give a price range. And self-scheduling. Now, this one's really interesting. Let me tell you how it applies to insurance. Self-scheduling is when someone can schedule time, let's say with a salesperson, without having to talk to a human first. But let me take it up one level. Let's say you have an agency. We've done this, by the way. We've done this with financial planners. It's wild. Imagine if somebody came to your agency and they said, I want to get a quote. And you said, sure. Would you like to choose which agent you work with? They go to the page that shows all of your agents. There's a photo. There's a video about that person introducing themselves. There's the bio they can read. And then the person chooses which agent they work with. Here's what we found. When someone can choose who they work with, closing rates double every single time in any industry we've attempted to do this with. So it's literally choose your own adventure. In this case, it's choose your agency. Would you rather choose your agent, or would you rather have an agent given to you? Do you see what I'm saying? So if you could look at a whole page, read and learn about them, then because you've researched, you're invested. Because you're invested, sunk costs increase. Because sunk costs increase, closing rates double. Over and over. It's wild.
What about the challenge of too many jellies on the jar? I can't pick between these 20 producers in the agency.
Yeah. So if you're saying, hey, we've got too many agents, I just don't think we could do it. But what you can do is give people an option. Have us assign you one. Or you can choose your own by going to this page and learning all about them. I can tell you this works great with financial planners. It works great with real estate agents. I mean, I've done it in different industries. It's phenomenally effective. I don't think there's going to be diminishing returns if you give people the option, Luke. It's kind of like, do you want to speak to the AI or do you want to speak to human? A lot of people prefer to speak to AI. And the reason is, on calls for customer service, because they have no fear of being embarrassed by the AI, whereas with a human, they will hedge the questions they ask because they are afraid that the human will make them feel silly for asking the question. All right? Yes, on the phone. Now, that doesn't mean that every human prefers to work with AI. There's a lot that only want to work with a human. But I know my opinion about what I want doesn't matter because it's both, and I'm going to make sure I have both. All right? Now, let's look at real quick how it works on the self-scheduling side, on the self-selection side. If you go to River Pools, you've got options. I'm looking for the right type of pool, the right pool shape, an instant price range. So for example, you might be, on your site, you might say, I'm looking for the right type of insurance. And then it might be, I'm looking for a range, a price, a quote range, a rate range. So it's the same thing. So I know I want someone to know by the time they talk to a salesperson what type of pool they want. I don't want them still debating. I want them to know what shape of our models already. And I want them to know an instant price range before I talk to them because closing rates go way up. So let's say someone doesn't know what is the right type of pool for them. Now this would be, I want you to imagine, what is the right insurance agency for me? Another one could be, what is the right type of insurance for me? It's the same thing. Now you ask a series of questions. In this case, we're going to ask, how important is project duration to you? And they get to choose an answer. What shape would you like your pool to be? Now let's say that they want something really customized. In this case, fiberglass pool, it's not a good fit because they don't have any shape that you want. So I'm going to show you what happens if somebody's not a good fit here. We ask questions like, how deep do you want it to be? Well, the reason why we ask if they want it to be deeper than 8 feet is we don't have anything deeper than 8 feet. How important is weekly maintenance to you? Project cost. Do you want to spend less than 50 to 100, more than 100? What's your plan? And then we say, congratulations. Congratulations. Based on the choices you've made, it appears vinyl would be your best option. Not sure why. I see exactly why with this full report. And they can get the full report, email to them. Now's when they give us their information. But do you notice here, we don't sell vinyl yet. We just recommended that they get a vinyl pool. Are you brave enough to recommend another company or another product on your website? If you are, you'll become the voice of trust, and people are going to love you for it. And when we email them, we show them why this pool is a good fit, why it's not potentially a good fit based on their answers. We show them every question we asked. We show them every response they gave. And we show them how each swimming pool type compares. So you could do this too, very easily. What is the best blank for me? What's an example of what is the best blank for me in your industry? Come on. All right, what's the best provider? What's the best car insurance for me? Perfect one, right? What's another one? What's the best type of coverage for me? You can go on and on here. It's so powerful. Now, self-pricing. This is the one that's getting really interesting. I know we had like a fun conversation on this earlier, but that was like level 1. I'm now going to show you level 2. And some of you won't be thrilled, but some of you will see it as an opportunity to generate more leads. This is when you give visitors the ability to, at a minimum, get a price range for your product or service. So if you go to the River Pool site, we were the first manufacturer in the entire world to give a pricing estimate online. Now, everybody said, Marcus, you can't do that because you're not even the installer. You don't set the end price. They're all thinking very limited. I was like, well, of course we can do that. We just have to be willing to give a range, and it's a range that's big enough that won't put us in a corner. So this is how it works. They come to the site. Hopefully they've already figured out which pool is the right one for them, like shape is. And so once they get here, they choose the shape they want. If they want to see examples, they can see examples. Then they're going to get explained what comes with the base package. In other words, what's included, same as you. Then there's options. We're going to ask questions like, hey, what type of patio do you want? Do you want concrete or pavers or stone? We're going to ask questions like, hey, what type of other accessories or features might you want? And if they want to learn what they are, we'll explain it, just like they would if they were talking to a salesperson. We're even going to say other factors or hidden costs that they need to be aware of. We're going to mention those. And then finally, we've got the gate. Now, the gate, this is the form. This is critical because this is where you get the lead from. You put the form at the end because they're now invested. They're ready to get that instant quote estimate, whatever you might call it. And then now it's going to be instantly emailed to them. And here's where it is. They get this in the email that second. It says what they chose. It shows the ballpark price range, $112,000 to $160,000. And it shows an estimated monthly payment. Now, notice, you're like, Marcus, that's a $40,000 swing. Yeah. And it's also more than any company in the world is willing to give. Do you see what I'm saying here? Are you starting to see how this could be possible for you? So this is what we did. And does anybody want to know the impact this had on our company? I'll tell you the impact this had on our company, 100 to 200 leads a day. And people say, how did you become the most trafficked swimming pool website in the world? What allowed you to sell your company for like many millions of dollars? That stupid tool right there that everybody said you can't do, along with they ask you answer. Those are the two biggest factors. Best decisions I made. And the whole time I was constantly doing things that everybody said you can't do. Made a living on this. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. I'm going to show you something from home improvement that's coming for insurance. Because what I found over the course of my 20 years is things start in home improvement when it comes to B2C especially, and then it moves to the rest of the industries. Currently, if someone types in remodeler near me, or imagine insurance company near me, anybody see on the screen, I know it's hard to see in the back here, does anybody see something that you might say, oh my goodness, I've never noticed that before? Now, Google is saying, when you search for a business near you, they are trying to show estimators, online estimators. Either A, they read my book, or B, they just realized this is where the world is headed. And so, when you click on online estimate, then you'll see, in this case, First, it's the sponsored result, but the sponsored result that they have chosen to show is the one that has an estimator tool on their website. Now, let's just be honest. Do you think this is just going to skip the insurance industry? No. I would venture to say you're going to be one of the first that it touches after home improvement. And I have made many predictions that have become very, very true over these last 15 to 20 years. Now, this isn't the only game changer. Let's look at this right here. Also, when you search near me, you now have another new wrinkle. Might not see it in the back, but here's what it looks like on mobile. Do you see this? Have AI check prices. Uh-oh. Now what happens? By the way, I was showing this recently, and somebody got really upset with me because they thought somehow I was responsible for this. I'm like, no, I'm just showing you what Google is doing, okay? And I want you to know where it's headed. But she was like, why are you doing this to us? I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just showing you what's coming. So, this, if you click on this, here's what happens next. Google asks you a series of questions. Oh, gee, it's a self-service tool. And then, because I filled it out, I got an email 2 days later because they were trying to find a plumber for me. And they said, here's what we found in your area. You can call the businesses directly to set up an appointment. Call the drain doctor. They're available for a faucet repair right now, but did not provide a price estimate. Now, do you think this is coming for insurance or not?
Yes.
100%. And I want you to be prepared. The way you can be prepared is by having exactly what I've asked you to do up to this point, is having these types of tools on your site. Now, one way that you can, let me just show you, if you're thinking, I like this, here's one thing I provided for you, because this really will just explode your leads this year if you do these tools the right way. Because I want you to do them, and I would challenge you to do all of them, I have built a free tool for you. Now, this is called Endless Self-Service Tools. All you have to do is go to it, and then you say, hey, I want you to create self-service tools for my insurance agency. You can put in your URL, or you can say, we specialize in XYZ insurance in XYZ town. That's fine. But I want somebody to go there now and just try it out. Just try it out for me if you would. All right? Come on. Get your hands, elbows a little bit dirty. I promise you're going to see some pretty cool ideas with this.
What did you say to put in again? Yeah, what do we put in there?
So with this one, you could put in your URL, but you could also say, I have an insurance company. We specialize in these types of insurance. Come up with self-service ideas for me. Okay? I have an insurance company. We specialize in these types of insurance. Come up with self-service tools for me. All right, we got one over here. All right, your name is Josh. All right, here it comes. The magic begins. Now, it might ask you a few questions, but otherwise, it's going to start to give you some rad answers. Let me show you Josh's rad answers. So the first one here for self-assessment tools. The first one is Insurance Coverage Gap Checker. What it does, it's a short assessment that helps visitors identify coverage blind spots. Ooh, I like this one. The questions that might be included is, do you own or rent? Do you work from home? Do you have teen drivers? Do you own a dog, a trampoline, a pool? Do you have assets over X? Okay. And the output is you're likely uninsured in 3 main areas. You like this one so far, Josh? Second one, assessment tool. Am I overpaying for insurance quiz? Let's do some recommendation or self-selection tools. Are we the right insurance agency for you? And what it does, in a radically honest way, it answers the question before they even call the agency, are we the right for you? A policy type finder, what it does, it guides users to find the right policy mix, not just one product. For self-configuration, we've got a home insurance coverage builder, and we've got an auto plus umbrella protection configurator. For self-pricing, we've got an insurance cost range estimator. This is the dead ringer. And we've got a cheap versus proper coverage price. So it's a comparison tool that shows what a really cheap price would be, probably with poor coverage, versus what nice coverage and a more expensive price premium would be. Isn't this cool? This is so great. Whoever invented this tool is a freaking baller. You know what I'm saying? This is great.
Smart guy.
All right. Raise your hand if you got some good answers on yours. Did you get some good ones? All right, good. Now, that's there for you. Now, what's really cool is this. Once you see one you like, if you want, you could literally say to ChatGPT in the tool, you could say, will you help me build this right now? And it'll start to help you build it. Some of it you can build without a programmer at all. Or you could take the idea over to Claude Code, which I do, and then I build it in Claude just because it's easier to build over there. Without a programmer and without spending the $20,000 it used to cost us 5 years ago. Glorious time to be alive. All right, number free stuff. Free. Oh, by the way, on the estimator, I have a software. You want to write this down because you want to try it. It's called priceguide.ai. Priceguide.ai. What this software does, it allows businesses to quickly, easily, and cost-effectively build estimators for their website. So you could build a rate estimator working on your site tonight. It's extremely powerful, this tool. It will build it for you very, very quickly. Again, it's called priceguide.ai. It is the least expensive on the internet because I wanted to make it affordable to everybody. So for an entire year, you're less than $500 for the entire year. You will find, because I've got 1,000 customers using it right now, the average company, as soon as they add an estimator to their website, they get 3 times the leads they were getting the moment before they added it. So if you're getting 5 leads a week to your website right now, you'll probably average about 15 if you add a rate estimator to your website. Okay? All right, again, it's called priceguide.ai. All right, so let's talk about your scores. Raise your hand if you got a score. Raise your hand if you got a score. All right, what was your score, Emily?
35 to 65.
35 to 65, which means you're scoring a 50 right now. All right, a 50, which means we have opportunity, right? All right. What's another? Anybody else? Tell me some scores right here. Yes, sir.
Same.
Yeah.
Broken down.
Yeah, same, rough, same range. Let me see where it is. Okay, good. So your total here, yeah, yours was 35 to 65. Yours is, we got one here, 18 to 48. Yes.
I need help.
Yes, David. David, the stuff is hitting the fan, my friend. It's hitting the fan. All right, well, what'd you get? 27 to 57. What'd you get? Oh, wow, it's 60 to 90. Woo! Everybody said, ooh. Nice job. So 60 to 90 means you're 75, which means you're passing. Still opportunity, but nicely done. How are you doing? Oh, we had a 68 to 98. Wow. So we've got some good performers. Now listen. Some of you, like I had somebody in the break say, I got my score and I could see my schema was messed up. I'm going to cover that in a second. AI Trust Signals is like any other SaaS. How it works is I give you the free version. Many of you will just use the free version. That's totally fine. There's also a paid version, which is like $20 a month or something like that. And how it works is it gives you a report on every trust signal that I'm about to show you and the actions that you can take for it. All right. So this is what we're going to do right now. We're going to look at your trust signals and we're going to see what you can do. I apologize for ending this on a techie, nerdy note, but there's no way around it, as I said earlier. All right, remember these? So now, that tool I just showed you helps you measure all of these. That being said, I want to show you how to take action now. We're going to do it in a pretty quick way. Now, there are 2 trust signals that we have found affect AI's willingness to recommend you and show you more than any other. The first one is pricing. The second one is reviews. But reviews is different with AI than it was with Google. Let me give you an example. Google only looked at mainly how many reviews and what your score was, whereas AI looks at your average rating, how many reviews you've gotten across all platforms, your review recency. In other words, if you're not getting reviews in the last 6 months, it will count that as a strike against you. And it weighs negative reviews much more. In other words, Google didn't look at negative reviews. They didn't read it. They didn't base who they showed on negative reviews. AI very much notices and reads your negative reviews. Continuing. When it comes to AI, sentiment analysis is baked in. So they extract patterns or words across all of your reviews across all the platforms. For example, fast versus slow or professional versus unreliable. They're looking for these types of phrases. So here's what you can expect in the future. Mark my words. I believe this will happen, and it will. I do believe happen. AI will show you what I'm going to refer to as a reputation graph. You will stop reading individual reviews in the near future. You personally will stop. You will have AI do a full review for you, and what it's going to do, it's going to consume 1,000 more reviews than you could have ever have done. Not only is it going to do that, but it's going to form what's known as a reputation graph, and within this graph, it's going to show you the following about the companies you're researching, or in this case, about your agency. Your star rating, the volume, the recency, the sentiment, the themes that you're getting as an agency, your consistency across different platforms, complaint patterns that they're seeing about your agency, and your response behavior. Response is now mandatory for the reviews you're getting online, especially when it's a negative review. You've got to respond, all right? So you can expect to see this. And AI is going to weigh negative themes more heavily. And it's going to penalize you if you've got too many red flags. So if you start seeing words that were like ghosted us or didn't finish the job or hidden fees or wrong diagnosis, whatever that is, you got to be very leery of these. If you thought reviews mattered before, now they're really, really going to matter. And if we're being honest, all it's doing is it's like the perfect human experience is that you could see every review across every platform and really become informed enough to know, okay, I see the full picture. And now you're going to get that, and you're going to get it in seconds as a consumer. That's where we're headed. So what does this mean? All right. AI will compare you to the expected standard for your industry. So for example, if you're at 3.9 stars, you might still eat at that restaurant if they're 3.9 stars, but would you work with an insurance provider that was 3.9 stars? No. Yay or nay? No. Are you going to go to a hospital that's 3.9 stars? Do you see the difference? So 3.9 stars means something very different across different industries. Now, here's the action item. This is simple, and it works. I've tested it with multiple companies now. And I don't have like a great visual here, but I just chose a pediatric dentistry to show you how you can do this to a degree. What you need to do is you need to create a review page on your site. Now, the job of that page is to do what AI sometimes struggles to do, which is see all your reviews in one place for all the platforms and get a quick sense for things. So for example, what you'll do at the top of this one, you might have customer testimonials with real people's names. Once you have on that page your customer testimonials, and I would choose at least 3 to 6, at least that, Then you show your Google reviews. You show your number of stars, you link back to Google because this is important, but then you show, and you don't see it here, but you want to show Google reviews, at least 3 to 6. There's a problem right now that ChatGPT has with Google. It can't actually read all of its reviews because it doesn't have access to the API. So what happens is it sees the surface Google reviews, it doesn't see all the Google reviews. Now that could change over time, but the point being is you want to make its job easier. So if ChatGPT can come to your site and get all of your review platforms in one place without having to parse all over the internet, it would prefer to do that because it's a parsing tool more than it's not a reading tool, it's a parsing tool. It's parsing information here and there, grabbing it, and whoever shows it easier wins. I'll take your questions in a second. Notice on the same page, they then have their Facebook reviews. So you've got Google reviews. Where else do you have reviews for your company? Anybody? Yelp. So you've got Yelp. So you would show Yelp on this page. Where else would you show? So you would show Facebook. What else would you show? You show Bing maybe. What else? Better Business Bureau. Good. So you'd want to show all of these on that page. Does everybody see it? I'm telling you, you creating this page, doing it like I'm showing you, but making sure you show the reviews, not as an image, as readable text. As readable text, you will see that AI will pick this up and they will start to reference it, okay? Question.
Are these dynamic, Marcus, or are they fixed on the page?
You want to make sure this is readable HTML. That's the main thing. As long as it's readable HTML, you're fine. Okay, so make sure whoever puts it on your site and any AI can see it. Although AI is getting better and better at seeing images and reading video and all that stuff, we want to make sure it's impossible for it to miss, okay? Simple action item. Yes, Pete?
You said chat can't read all the Google reviews.
Not all Google reviews.
Can Gemini, since it's a Google?
Gemini does. But that's also why Gemini weighs in what it shows for visibility, Google-based stuff much more than the other two platforms. Much more than Claude, much more than ChatGPT. So I don't know how that'll shake out in the end, but the one thing too on trust signals, we're measuring Gemini, we're measuring Claude, and we're measuring ChatGPT on that. Yes?
What about companies like there were Rocket referrals, Flying Circle, things that companies can get you reviews?
Yes, Denny, great question. Any platform where there's reviews about you, references to you, citations, you want to show it now much more intentionally than you ever have before. Because AI says the more proof in this pudding, the more I'm likely to recommend it. Whereas before, homeowner doesn't care if you got like 500 on one page and they're showing you all the different, it's like the homeowner didn't care that much, or the customer, excuse me. But now AI very much cares about that. Okay, good.
One more question. I know it's really important to reply to all Google reviews with SEO keywords,
Yeah.
et cetera. Should those be also, the replies be on the website?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I would put some of your replies on there. I would not hesitate to do it. All right, good idea, good thought. All right, so that is your first big action item. Other than what we've talked about, this is something you could do immediately. It's going to have big results. Couple hours of work, you're done, and you're going to see we're tracking, okay? Remember, in the future, no amount of content or optimization can overcome poor review velocity, volume, or negative sentiment. Be aware. If you wet the bed with a customer and they gave you a terrible review, just do what it takes. Do what it takes. Now, AI will get better at identifying fake reviews, though, and false reviews. So that is a good thing about what's happening. Now, we're going to go through some of these fast. Website security. AI wants to work with safe websites, safe everything. And one way that you can prove to it in a big signal is through the security of your website. It wants protected environments, clear security signals, verified identity, safe transactional paths. So these all matter to the AI. What that means is you want to create a security and privacy page. Now, there's not many sites that have done this well. The best one that I've seen do this is the Whiskey Exchange. They have a security and privacy page, and on that page they say, hey, we use McAfee. Hey, we've got the VeriSign Trust Seal. Hey, we're verified by Visa and MasterCard. Hey, we've got SSL for our site. Hey, we've got fraud protection. Hey, we've got identity verification. Hey, we've got cookies. All you have to do is you could go to Whiskey Exchange, grab this URL, all right, put it into ChatGPT, say, I want you to use this as a model for security and privacy page for my website. Help build out a security and privacy page for my website. Ask me any questions you need to ask me. Act as an expert in AI optimization, or AEO. And it'll walk you through it, and you'll be able to build one together quickly. This is something that you can do in less than 1 hour, and it's immediate, more visibility for AI, more recommendations from AI. I told you this was tactical and unsexy, but it all works. All right? Yes, ma'am.
You talk a lot about Claude versus ChatGPT, but you've not mentioned Copilot.
Yeah, she said, you've talked a lot about Claude versus ChatGPT, but not Copilot. Because like in my world, very few people have Copilot in their top 3. And so Copilot is fine, and it might become great, but it's not, it's kind of like using Apple Maps. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's viewed in my world. I hope they're not a sponsor. No sponsor in here. No Copilot sponsor. Okay, good. All right. Educational Content Hub. This takes more time. This is your learning center, your knowledge center. This is your content surface area. But AI wants depth to answer confidently. This is where your big 5 of your website lives. So we want multiple related articles. Explainer articles and videos, cost breakdowns, troubleshooting guides, comparisons, how-to, definitions, alternative, best of, FAQs. So everything we talked about lives on your knowledge center, your learning center on your website. And you've already gotten the tool that gave you the outline for your editorial calendar. You got that part done. And oh, by the way, once you produce your first 5 articles on cost, now you've got a whole guide on cost. I mean, that's how it works. So that'll take you more time. Brick by brick, get it done. Get it done. Ideally, AI wants to see that you produce this content in multiple formats as well. So hopefully you're just not a one-trick pony. That's why we want tables, diagrams, calculators. The more you can do tables, diagrams, charts, though, that are proprietary to you, that you make up, man, freaking AI loves it. They source the heck out of it. It's so powerful when you do that. So we try to look for that. We try to create that as much as possible outside of your regular, articles and videos. Accuracy of claims. This one sounds weird. It's not something any of us are used to. Accuracy of claims refers to how verifiable, factual, precise, and non-contradictory your statements are across your website and across the entire web. Okay? So if AI sees that you have discrepancies of claims, stuff that you're teaching, it starts to pick up on it, and it distrusts you. So what we want to have is factual correctness, consistency of information across the pages, alignment with known data sources, up-to-date numbers and specs, verifiable statements supported by external evidence, absence of exaggeration, avoidance of contradictions, transparent disclosures. All these things matter to answer engine optimization, or AI SEO, or whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it AI visibility. One great company I've seen that you can model, that I would suggest you feeding into your ChatGPT and saying, help me create this, would be Healthline. They have a page that says their editorial process. And what they do is they explain everything they do in terms of producing content and how they go about doing it. This all helps the AI say, wow, this is trustworthy. In terms of the entire internet, Healthline, their editorial process page, which verifies accuracy of claims, is the best on the internet that I've seen. That's why it's here. And you can use this as the model. And by the way, you don't have to use the URL. You can take a shot of both images, put that into your ChatGPT, and say, help me build an editorial process page for our website. Ask me any questions you need. Got it? Okay. Now for the big nerdy stuff. And let me apologize for this one up front. Schema. So schema is a word many of us had never heard of until AI. And now everybody needs to become familiar with this phrase. What's the definition? Schema means the practice of adding precise labels to your web pages, so Google and AI tools instantly know what each thing is. So if it's a product page, if it's a pricing page, if it's an estimator, if it's a review, if it's a service area, if it's an FAQ, if it's an author page, if it's a video, each one of these needs a label that tells the AI this is exactly what it is. Because what AI parses first is the schema, and then it goes further into that content. So you need to have your web person add schema to every major page of your website, whereas before it didn't matter as much. When you are doing a search online, and then you see this information right here, do you see this? That's schema. That's what that is. It shows up in results, but you wouldn't have necessarily seen that if you'd gone to their website that way. The schema, though, hits all those things right there. Now, you can take pages of your website right now and see if you're missing schema. All you have to do is you go to a site like validator.schema.org. You could say, put in your homepage URL, and it will tell you if your schema is off. You can also just take all of the code on that page. You can put it into into ChatGPT and say, act as an expert in schema. Am I missing anything? Either one of the two you can do. And you might not be able to do it, but your web person can. And I know, again, you're going to have the deck. And I know it's the first time hearing a lot of this. And I know it's technical right now. Don't get overwhelmed with it because your competitors are not doing this yet either. So you're one of the first in your entire industry to know many of these things. So don't be intimidated by it. Now, all 13 pages. You've always had these. You're going to have like producer pages, team pages. But the big difference now is you want to have specifics on these pages of that individual producer or of that individual team member, like the owner of the company or whatever that might be. You want the name and title, the headshot, a short and long bio of that person, their areas of expertise, and here's the big one. Credentials and certifications should be listed for that producer. Experience timeline, any featured articles and videos they've helped produce, topics they cover, professional links, contributions to the brand, training, any training, certs they've got, whatever, leadership, public speaking, and a schema markup block again for this person. Now, if you are producing articles on your website, the article should have a byline. The byline links to this author page because the AI wants to make sure if it's sourcing an article, if it's sending someone to an article, that it was produced by somebody that's not a fake or a hack. So this way, by doing this, you give the AI a tremendous amount of confidence that this is a true subject matter expert. Do you understand? Not a ton of work, just a little bit of work, but this will make ground for your AI visibility. Yes, ma'am.
So I want to make sure I understand the two concepts put together, right?
Okay.
So each thing that we put on our page is blogs, videos, different things like that, content library needs to then track back to our team in some way. So that way we're crediting our team for coming up with that content. Because a lot of times maybe we outsource it, or maybe we do other things to be able to get this information, and sometimes maybe we write it.
Yeah.
So
generally, we always now want to have a source, and you can mention if you outsource it to some other sources, but typically you want to have an author that produced it in-house that links back to their author or team member page. It's essentially the same thing now. It's a hybrid, it's a combined version. So if you have a producer now, if you have a subject matter expert on staff, anybody like that, they should have a page like this on their site, on your site. Okay? Good. Yes?
What if we make all the articles as us as the author, as the agency owner? Or is it strategic? Should we say some of our team members are the authors of some of them? Should we spread it out?
Yeah. I would do it based on who actually did it. So if you are the only person that's doing it as the owner, but if you're using subject matter experts, I would be linking, because I'm sure sometimes what happens in most cases is you got somebody that's an expert in this line, right? Somebody that's an expert in that line. And so they will oftentimes be a subject matter expert, act as an SME, and I would try to find ways to put them in there. But if you're the only one, you're the only one. Okay?
So in that case scenario, do you recommend, because I'm the only one that's ever written all the blogs on our website, so do you recommend now that I start getting some other people to author blogs, or does it matter?
I don't think it's going to matter so much that you're going to get penalized for only one person. I think if you, is it Rhonda? Linda, I can't see it. Linda, if your bio page looks like that, then I think you're going to be pretty good. But you will need to go back and put the byline into all those articles. Yeah, good question, Linda. All right, case study and testimonial presence. Case study and testimonial presence. Now, what we want to do is lots of times you have case studies, but let me give you an example of one that I found. And let's say, all right, this company did a renovation project to boost the homeowner's value. What made this one effective is they had a page that showed the project overview on the same page, the investment and the ROI. So in other words, they talked about, hey, the homeowner spent this much money, but here was the return on their investment. Now, it's not going to be the exact same thing for insurance, but if you have case studies on your site, and let's say you have a commercial, somebody that had a commercial insurance, and you could talk about how they came to you and they got a particular line and they ended up having an issue, and because of that, it saved their company millions of dollars, and you actually talk about that, I'm telling you, AI will just like die for that, because when it comes to real numbers, it very, very much cares. It's very attracted to that. So if you can show real ROI from some of your customer case studies, it'll make a difference. It'll make a difference. Okay? Content freshness. I mentioned this one earlier, but AI is scared of outdated information. It just doesn't want to show old stuff. So what does this now mean? Well, the most important element is this. Use a visible last updated date. So every article and every main page of your site now should have a last updated date on that page. At the beginning of each year, I would re-update every page, and then halfway mark through the year, I would re-update it again. Everybody got it? This way, it feels very fresh. It absolutely positively penalizes this, we've seen. Remember, everything I'm telling you right now is based on, we've done over 4,000 company tests. We understand what AI is using better than most, but everything I'm telling you is evolving and it's changing. And so when we have this conversation in 2 years, it's probably going to look very different than it does today. But that's the game we're in. We just have to play it. There's a question over here. Mike, thank you, buddy.
There's a big push to use AI to write these articles. Is that going to be held against us? Is it going to notice this and say, yeah, I wrote this last week. What's going on here? How do we go about managing that? I mean, obviously there's techniques to ensure that it's not AI heavy.
So this is what Google has said about this, and this is where everybody is essentially going. You're not going to be penalized for using AI. You're going to be penalized for having very redundant, low-quality copy on your website. So just as a website in the past might have been penalized if they were having some, like black hat SEO company producing multiple articles that all look the same and they only change the town name, like that will get you penalized. But if you are using Claude, which by the way, for writing articles, Claude right now is definitely better than ChatGPT. It's not close in my opinion. That could change in 3 months. But today, Claude is much better at this. It is the best writing tool right now. I would absolutely use Claude, and I would, though, go back and forth with it. The big key is that you have Claude act as the interviewer, and you approach it in that way. So right now you've got this incredible journalist that works for you that is the smartest journalist in the world. It asks great questions, and you just got to use it, right?
So you're like the producer, essentially.
You're the producer. You're the subject matter expert. That's exactly right. And that's the way I would approach it. And you can see some of the other ways for content freshness, but the most important one here is this. I've given you my top 11, and so you can pay attention to those in the future, but you do want to update pages regularly. That's one of the big keys, but having that schema up there really matters a lot. So all this looks like in real life, if you go to like a website like HubSpot, on their content pages, they've got the updated button on every pretty much content page now. Just like that, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like right there. Pretty simple. You want to have that now. But you want to make sure you have that with the right schema, because otherwise, AI might not be able to pick it up. All right. Another quick nerdy one, policy and ethics transparency. So you want to have the perfect policy ethics page. I give you an example of what this looks like in the ranking in terms of importance so that you can create this page. Once again, the best one I've seen for this is Healthline. So you can use Healthline as your model, okay? Use Healthline as your model. Another one, awards and recognition. I used to have an awards page, but I didn't care a lot about it because customer didn't care that much. Now it really matters. You want one page of your site that shows every award you have ever won since elementary school. Like really. With a link back to that award or to that company. With a link back to it. You will find, if you start to notice this, like I have a habit of, and now hopefully you'll have the habit, when you see results in your ChatGPT, when you're doing a search, you will notice that ChatGPT consistently mentions awards that companies have won. It loves to do that. So if you're very good at showing the awards you've won, and all it takes is one robust page, you're cooking. What's great about this talk that I'm giving you is I've given you a directive to create 5 or 6 new pages of your site that will put you way ahead of all of your competitors when it comes to visibility and getting recommended by AI. Yes, Greg?
Should you put in there awards and stuff you won as a business in the community?
Okay, should you put awards that you've won as a business in the community? If your wife gave you an award for best husband, Greg, put it on there. You know what I'm saying? All right? I mean,
maybe we better not put that one in.
Yeah, right. Whatever it takes. Whatever, I'm telling you, just put it all in there. Yes, Eric.
Marcus, should this be a standalone page, or can we build this into our bio page?
Both. It has to be a standalone page, though. Very important. And you'll end up integrating it because you're going to have some of these awards on that team member page. Remember that we were looking at earlier? Their individual awards and certifications should be on their page, but then we've got an awards page across the whole for the company, for the owners, for some of the team members, the whole 9. So an example of this, you see, this is Procter & Gamble, but they've got best companies, blah, blah, blah. They got their awards mentioned. So this is kind of what you want to do, but what I would do further is I would add why the award matters to them. Like, what's this mean to the customer? 1 or 2 sentences. Why it matters. Question? Yes, sir?
You're right on the money on that. I did a bio myself just on ChatGPT, and I just said, who is Robert Klinger? And that said, did he receive a Purple Heart? At first, it didn't know. And then all of a sudden, I sent a link to the Pentagon, and a whole shitload of stuff came up right away.
Yes.
It validated real time, and then it went into other things real quick.
Yeah. So to your point, we don't want it to ever have to look twice again. We want it to know. So that's you?
Yeah, but once
you have a Purple Heart?
Yeah, but once I did.
Man, give this man a round of applause. That's awesome. He needs a book. A book with a really valuable signature. Okay, good.
Once I did it, it gave a lot more detail thereafter.
Yeah, and that's the type of thing that,
But it worked to make sure it was valid.
Yeah. So that's why you source it back to where it's coming from. Very good. That was really, really good point. Really good point. So you definitely want to lean hard into this. All right. We're closing this up in terms of some of our signals, wrapping it up. Hopefully your brain's not fried yet. Answer focused semantic structure. Now, what does this mean? What it means is you want to take some of the main, let's say, areas of your business and then have an FAQ page for each. Let me show you this. This is a really wonderful example. This is a laundromat, okay? So they've got on the left side of this particular page, because they have an FAQ like page, but then they just do it in such a way that's awesome. They've got their top questions that people have about their laundromat and their laundry services. They mention them all here, accordion style drop down with quick answers. Then, for people that have a question about their first rinse, their first time ever coming in, a series of questions. Then, a series of questions about their services. Then, a series of questions about their program called Rinse Repeat, their program called Rinse Go, their program called Rinse Drop. It just keeps going. So they have all these FAQs. This is incredible answer-based semantic structure. So you want to have that. Now might have this for each type of insurance, for example, that you offer. But this is absolutely something that you want to have, and you could easily use AI to help you come up with the most repeated questions, but you probably know many of them as it is, and then you have a few answers for each. I would do this before you go buck wild with all your they ask you answer big five, because you can do this quite quickly. So a lot of things that you've looked at today, you could do in a few days, and you're way ahead of your competitors. Just final points on this. I want you to start to follow what is an answer first method with your content, okay? What do we mean by answer first? When answering buyer questions, give an answer first summary before the main text of the post even starts. A TLDR, if you will, at the beginning. So you've got the title of the thing, you've got the summary that gives the answer, and it could be a general answer, but it gives an answer, and then you've got the main text of the post. I know you haven't been doing this, now you need to. So, Linda, in your case, you'll go back to those and you'll add a lot of these summaries at the beginning. Don't you appreciate all the work I'm giving you? Oh, yes. All right. And to make sure you cite authoritative sources in every major article. Link to 3 to 5 credible external sources like industry studies, government data, peer-reviewed research. You might not be able to do that on past stuff. You might not hit 3 to 5, but look for it. In the past, it was like we were hesitant to link out to anybody. Start to do it for those credible sources, because AI is interesting. Google Legacy wanted to see who is linking to you. Now AI wants to see who you're linking to. And it all comes back to trust, verifiability. Is it a good source, etc. What's our room temperature like? Is everybody okay? Now, my man Cass told you, he told me yesterday, he's like, this audience is really worried about AI visibility. And I said, well, good, because I'm coming and I'm packing heat. Do you feel like this has helped you have some action items for AI visibility, yes or no? Yes. Good. I'm so happy to hear that. If anybody wants the slides, which you might want to take me up on that, okay? Now, what we're going to do here in a second, I'm going to share one final story, and then I'm going to do some FAQ before we leave. I don't want everybody to bug out, because we have till 11:30, and we're going to have a good like FAQ, because I want you to start thinking about your questions. This asks you a couple other questions on here, like one of them at the bottom is like, do you want to subscribe to Marcus's newsletter? One of them is, hey, do you want help doing any of these things? You don't need to say yes to that, but if somebody's like, hey, can somebody come in and just like fix some of this stuff for us? If you're interested in that, we'll talk about it, but don't feel like you need to check any box. But do check the box that says slides. That's the one that you do need to check. Okay. So, as I'm wrapping up, I have asked you today to do things that others in your space are not willing to do. If you remember, I said, we need to say what others aren't willing to say. We need to show what others aren't willing to show with video. We need to sell in a way others aren't willing to sell. If you put a pricing estimator, if you put those interactive tools, that's selling very differently, very differently. And we need to be more human than others are willing to be. We didn't go far into be more human, but if you put yourself out there, your face, if you're putting yourself out there, naturally, it's going to happen. Now, I want to share the story that is one of my favorites about the type of CEO I want us to all be when it comes to sales and marketing, and that's Steve Scheinkopf. And you can read about him in Endless Customers, but Steve owns Yale Appliance, and they are a Boston, Massachusetts kitchen appliance retailer. Does anybody live in the Boston area here? You ever heard of Yale? Okay, now, Steve came to me, and he wasn't really growing online. And I looked at his content and I said, problem is, Steve, you're not obsessed with the buyer. He's like, yeah, I am. I'm like, no, you're not. You're obsessed with your products, but you're not obsessed with the buyer. When you become obsessed with the buyer, you're willing to say things that nobody else is willing to say and answer that which no one else is willing to answer. He said, I'm ready to play. A couple months later, after he started this process, he said, I keep getting a question, Marcus. And I said, well, what's that question? The question he kept getting is, what kitchen appliance brand do you fix the least? Has anybody ever had like a refrigerator break down on you before? Yeah, it's the worst because you're just watching hundreds of dollars of food go bad. It's very frustrating. It takes time. So people are constantly asking Steve this question. Now, the problem, though, is this. If Steve answers which kitchen appliance brands he fixes the least, it forces him to do what? He has to throw some brands under the bus. So this is a choice. Do you give the customer what they want, or do you make the manufacturer, the OEM, happy? What did he choose? The customer, because he's obsessed with becoming the most known and trusted voice in his market. And so this is what Steve did. And he's done it every year since 2017. And now when he does this, the whole industry, all the manufacturers wait and see what the results will be. He comes up each year with a series of articles and videos on the most reliable appliance brands for that year. And what he does, he takes all of the brands he sold from the previous year. He shares a report. Every brand he sold, the total number of service calls he ran for each one of those units. You see the least service brand all the way down to the most service brand that he sells. Would you call that brave? Did he piss off a few OEMs? Yes. And what do you think Steve said to these manufacturers that got upset?
Do better.
I guess you got to do better. Just sharing the data. So, before I show you, by the way, would you like to see the most and the least service brands of 2025?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Before I do, mention a few of the brands that you have in your kitchen right now. Anybody? Okay, we got a GE. What else we got? Samsung. Okay. KitchenAid. Okay, good. All right, Bosch. Okay, good. We got a Bosch. All right. The least serviced for 2025 was Gaggenau, made by Bosch. Their service rate has improved, gone from a 4.9% the previous year to 3.7%. So 3 out of 100 of their units get serviced by Yale. Least serviced. Now the most serviced brand they sell. With a service rate of 9.5%. Good golly, Miss Molly. Now, Steve does videos with this. And what's great about Steve? He's not a natural on camera. He doesn't like to smile. He looks grumpy all the time. But yet he's gotten over his own feelings. And he says, this is what the market wants. And because of what he's done, they went as a retailer that's dying because of Amazon. He went from 30 million in revenue to 150 million in revenue. This is what he's doing. All by becoming the most known and trusted in a time when many people are choosing convenience by going to Amazon. He continues to win. I want you to win. But you win by being willing to say and show and sell in a way your competitors are not. That's my challenge to you. Thank you very much. All right. Now, let's do some Q&A. We got 15, 20 minutes, Cass? Is that what we got? 15? Okay, good. All right. Wow, we should do an auction because this is like highest bidder moment here. Let's go. Okay. Yes, right here.
92 videos on YouTube. Does native videos rank higher than YouTube videos, or do both, or what?
No, we definitely want YouTube videos. ChatGPT is getting to the point where they're trying to show YouTube videos or videos in general as much as possible. So we want to lean hard into YouTube. In fact, there's an argument. We could get to the point where your YouTube channel means even more than your website in the future. I don't know if it's going to happen, but there's some arguments for that. You're doing great, but when you put them on your site, I would have them natively hosted, but I would have them living on YouTube, of course, and I'd be very invested in my YouTube channel if I'm an agency. Yeah. So very nice job on your part to do so many videos. Yes, sir.
Marcus, thanks for everything. Appreciate it. We've been getting a few more leads from the different AIs.
And it's only going to grow, right?
I wondered where it's coming from. You've given us the map for that. Here's my question. When we get referrals traditionally by someone who trusts us, we try to return that favor by making sure their trust was worth it, by handling the client well, and maybe taking them out to lunch, giving them a gift card, something, that reciprocity.
Yeah.
How do I do that with AI? Can I thank ChatGPT? That's a big question. I haven't thought about it.
Yeah. Quite nefarious, aren't we? Here? I don't know outside of AI saying to itself, this is my go-to source for this subject matter. And I think that relationship can be established if you are leaning like we're asking you to lean here and do the things. But I don't think it matters. But maybe eventually you might be sleeping with it. Who knows? I mean, I don't even know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. At this point, all bets are off. All bets are off. Yes, please.
Marcus, 4 years ago, we met you in San Antonio, and I doubled down on it. I just wanted to tell a quick story because I'm sure everybody is like swimming in their heads like, holy shit, what am I going to do now? And the feeling of overwhelm leads to procrastination and overthinking.
Yeah.
You want to focus on progress every day. We created a plan, an action plan, and we take action every day. We have over 650 videos on YouTube.
Wow.
Our content is being optimized by a 22-year-old Paraguayan VA.
Amazing.
Who's just crushing it. She's adding all of the things that you're talking about here.
Good.
And we're now achieving about 3 to 5 inbound leads a day, commercial clients. We work across the country. We're achieving good growth. And if anybody's really interested in this, do it. Really do it. And it's just a matter of a plan and taking action every day. It really works.
Wow. Let's go. That was my paid placement of the afternoon.
Yeah, and also virtual intelligence is here for that VE if you need them.
Thanks, Marcus. This was great. One question I wanted you, maybe this could derail, but you talked briefly in your presentation about the future of AI and feeding it all this information and what we feel is our knowledge and our expertise, and that the idea of replacing us, right? Or replacing and changing what we do as agents in the future. For a moment there, it felt a little dark, and I'm curious for you to open up on that a little bit of like, what is a scenario of how different do you think this can get in 10 or 20 years? And should we have any apprehensions about feeding all this knowledge and information and detail and our expertise into the system?
Yeah. Well, let's put it like this. I definitely think I give it a 3-year window where there's going to be folks in this room that have a digital avatar on their website. You come to the site and the site says, hey, I'm digital Marcus. I'm not the real Marcus. I'm just using his brain right now to have a conversation with you. Here's how this works. You can ask me any question about insurance and we'll talk about it right now. Or if you'd like, I can start the process of giving you a generalized estimate before we can give you your exact quote. Which would you prefer? Then you have a full-on conversation with that person that is talking to their computer, like it's a Zoom call with us, like you and I are in a Zoom. I think that is going to happen actually pretty quick because the tech isn't far away from that, and that's actually a pretty good user experience. The question then becomes is like, people say, should we tell them that they're using AI? My belief is we should always tell someone if they're interacting with AI. And I think in time, people won't care. What people tend to care about, whether it's good or bad, is can I get the thing that I wanted? Can I get it quickly and satisfactorily in the sense of like is it a good experience? The issue that a lot of people have right now is they say, I've used AI and it was terrible. I can tell you right now, the best advice I can give you when it comes to AI is have a very short-term memory. Because many of you have said, oh, it's no good at that. And oh, by the way, now it is. But because you assumed, you made the decision that it sucked at that thing a year ago, you have not checked on it since then, and now it's bypassed dramatically what you could have imagined. And that's going to continue to happen. So you need to have very short memories with it. But I do think that there are going to be agentic producers in the industry. I do think you're going to be able to have what feels relatively human-to-human experience with those agentic producers. It's going to look like a human. It's going to be trained by the agency, by your agency. It might even look and sound like you. You might say, this is, again, Avatar Marcus or whatever you want to call it. Am I saying you should do that? No. Am I saying that companies will do that? Absolutely. Will it be slower in this industry? Yes, because this industry tends to move slower. It doesn't tend to be on the cutting edge of doing things differently when it comes to sales and marketing. But that's also why the scary thing for this industry, it is most ripe for disruption. And we've seen disruption from tech in this space that's caused a lot of conversation. It was really interesting to me, the amount of times, because I've probably done, I don't know, maybe 50 insurance conferences over the years. The amount of times somebody I've heard make a side comment about Geico back in the day when they were just exploding, it was so funny to me because the only thing Geico did is they said, we can get you your answers faster. What was the phrase, 5 minutes or less, or 10 minutes or less? Or, yeah, 15 minutes or less. And everybody I see all these agency owners is annoyed by them where they could literally do the same thing. They might not have a mountain of TV advertising budget, but they can do many of these same things. But they're saying, I'm going to continue to hold on to the way it's always been. I definitely don't think we should do that. I do think we should hold on to the human connection component more than ever. And I do think there's going to be major outliers that maybe stay quite antiquated, but because they've got great legacy relationships, they make it for a while. But I don't think you're going to be able to make it for decades to come if the only name of your game is when they finally meet us, we just connect with them because our producers are so great and so personal and we're so warm, we're so human. I think you're going to have to do things from a technological perspective that make it faster, that remove friction, that remove fear. And if you don't do those things, I think you're going to struggle a lot. And I think we do need to lean into this. And is somebody going to come into the industry and cause us all to change our business model? I don't know. It's probably going to happen. I have 2 software companies. I expect that they are going to be eliminated and go to zero. I think AI trust signals will go to zero. I think price guide will go to zero. And I put hundreds of thousands of dollars in both of those companies. And I don't know when it's going to happen. And I'm not going to sit there and bemoan the fact that it probably will happen. And some of you are saying, I don't even like AI. I think it's the end of the world. Fine. If it's the Terminator, great. I want to make sure my business is successful between now and the end of the world. Because you all have heard of that phrase, circle of influence. Today, we have talked about that which is inside of our circle. We're not focused so much on what's outside the circle because we can't control that. You and I aren't going to control what happens with tariffs, and we're not going to control, if China or America wins the AI battle. We're not going to control that. It's outside my circle. That's why you're not going to see me spending a bunch of time worrying about it. What I'm going to worry about is what can I control as a business leader, as a business owner? I can learn every day, I can get in the sandbox, and I can push the envelope in my space. And you're going to do some things and it's going to fail, and then you're going to come back and it's going to work in 6 months. I tried voice AI 12 months ago, it failed. I'm doing it again because now it looks like it's ready. It's okay. I'm fine with that. I don't penalize the AI. It's all going to come. I want to make sure I'm ready for it. I know that's kind of a long-winded answer, and I didn't even quite fully answer, but that's where my mind is at because nobody has all the answers on this. But yeah, we're headed for disruption, and a lot of it.
Marcus, thank you very much. Put your hands together for Marcus. What an amazing time, Marcus. I knew you'd be fantastic, and man, he lived up to it, didn't he? I'm really glad actually you came on at this time because if I would have had that at the beginning of Brainshare, it would have been really hard to carry through for the rest of it to compete with that. So that's fantastic. I do really appreciate it. Everybody, hey, I want to just, this does conclude Brainshare. Obviously, I just want to kind of run through a couple of things. Whenever I'm done with this microphone in a minute, I need you to get out of the room. And the reason is we have to open up all of this for Indie Tech to start at 12:30, which Jeff will be on at 12:45. We will start at 12:30, so please get your lunch. There's going to be probably around 300 to 400 people that will be in that room. Before we leave, I think there's one thing I want to say. You guys all thank me for the time that I spend to do this. And I want you to know I absolutely, truly love it. If you know me, you know that I absolutely, truly love to do this. There's going to be a reason why I do this. I'm going to tell them to it on stage for about 5 minutes when I open up Indie Tech. But a lot of people that know me know that I say this a lot, and that is that if you give me 3 people in ChatGPT, I can rule the world. That's what I say a lot. And 2 of those people happen to be in this room right now. And one of them is my beautiful wife, who is in the back, Andrea. She's... Yay! And believe me, this takes a lot of time, and a lot of time sometimes away from her. And so, Andrea, I greatly appreciate that. And another person which made this event better than it's ever been, you have to admit, this thing's way more organized, other than the weather, than ever. And that is Barbara Pedinakis in the back. Woo! So, this does wrap it up. I'll see you on the main stage at 12:30 in this big long room. Thank you for coming to Brainshare.
Can I get a picture of Jason?